do it. Are we live?
Think we're
Spirit of the
live.
glass. Blink twice if we are live.
Oh, wait, why is it? Oh, fuck. I was wondering. Hey, the
Ah,
audio seems fine. Wait,
that's what that's what
let's
the
actually check the audio right now.
hello. Audio
Check the audio right now.
audio test
Hey,
one
it's not
two.
bad. It's actually working.
Alright, nice.
I think I just have to make you louder. I
Okay,
love
okay.
how we're just doing this right now. Yeah, I'll make you a little louder.
Okay, let's try this out now.
Hello, hello.
Is it louder now?
Yo,
Hello?
chat. If anyone's in chat, I think that's fine.
What's up? What's up?
It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Pretty crisp, pretty crisp.
So how did we fix that? How did we fix that? What the fuck?
I don't know.
Hey,
Let's
hello everybody. What's up? Welcome back to the What's Life Like podcast. Today I have a special guest, a returning guest. If you've seen my first few episodes, if you caught my first few episodes like 4 months ago. Actually, he was my last of the first batch of episodes, which was 4 months ago because I see your girlfriend followed
Hey
4 months
Max.
ago.
Thanks for the support.
Followed 4 months ago. I was like, oh shit, it's been 4 months
Ah.
since that last episode. So, I'm pleased to welcome back Roque Banzon, one of my friends from high school. So, what's up, man?
What's
How are
up, bro?
you?
Nice to see you
Nice
in
to see you.
person. Yeah.
Actually, yeah, that's true because I don't know, it's weird. I don't want to say weird, but the first time we did this, of course, was over Discord,
Yeah,
and
online.
also my previous guest all on Discord, and then now in person, and everyone like the past two episodes, my cousin and my Trish said that it's different. It's more
Dude, it's more real, man.
it's
It's just
more relaxing.
yeah.
Like
And you don't have to deal with like the latency shit, bro. Cause like
so true, and you don't have to deal with PLDT. Sorry,
yeah,
PLDT. You can sponsor
now
me.
we
Like
we throw in fire, but we're open to sponsorships.
I mean, our
But you gotta
internet's
get your shit
PLDT.
together. Actually, speaking of PLDT, like the past like 3 days, my internet's been like disconnected. I mean, not
PLDT hook
don't
this man up.
don't wanna make this into a hate podcast, but just like, come on, bro.
But I
Gotta
mean,
step your game up.
that's common here in the Philippines.
Yeah, I know,
Let
but
me
it
tell
shouldn't
you.
be, man. Like
But yeah,
everywhere else in the world, it's like Wi-Fi is
very.
not a problem.
I know.
But yeah, it's nice to be doing this in person
It is nice to
because
do this. It's just
like,
natural.
yeah, and there's like I mean, no matter how engaging Zoom podcasts are, Zoom
Mhm.
calls are, there's really nothing like being in person. There's like that human connection that you don't necessarily get from Zoom calls.
Yeah, and actually, for me, it felt like I also for you. If you guys don't know, Rocky also has his own podcast, Rocky's Modern Life.
Yeah, on a bit of a sabbatical right now,
Yeah,
but yeah.
he's just posted his season finale. What was it, last week?
Oh,
Or
last
no?
month, nah, dude, like
No
November.
way, that was last month. Why
Yeah.
did it pop up in my recommendations? So
That
yeah, so last
Ago.
month. Yeah, he also has a podcast. So I don't know for you if when you were doing your podcast, which is also most of your episodes were also like through Zoom, through online meets. For me, it felt like I was interviewing people. Like as much as even I told you that um I wanted to just be chill, more relaxing, not like an interview type of podcast. But even though it didn't feel like that and I got it off like that, it felt like I was interviewing you.
Yeah, it's still. I mean, even though like you kind of you know, change the tone of like the type of call,
Mm-hmm.
it still kind of feels like it because I mean we do work like um from like Zoom calls also. So it's
Mm-hmm.
just that whole setting of being in front of your
Yeah.
desk and then being ready on a Zoom call. Like for me, I have school, so like Zoom for me is like a school
Yeah,
thing or
yeah.
work related at this point. Like it wasn't like always like that when it started
Mm-hmm.
out, but yeah. So it's just like a little bit more of that serious hat on like versus like when you're in person and actually just getting to like talk to each other right now like this.
Yeah.
It's definitely more chill
Yeah.
and like I feel like the conversations also flow a lot better because
Yeah.
you're not dealing with like the latency and all that jazz.
Yeah. Speaking of nga, like that feeling of like when you're in the Zoom call and then you just either relate it to work or school. Parang that for me was like studying at home when during college. Like for me, like I wanted to use school as I'm gonna do all my work here. I'm gonna get home
like
Yeah,
time
you
to
just want
relax.
to relate home, being at home, just
Yeah.
relaxing, taking your time and stuff. Not that I didn't do any schoolwork. I did schoolwork at
Yeah.
home, but like
Yeah, we sure you
I,
did.
but I think at the latter years of college, like fourth and fifth year for me, like I in myself, like I wanted to do everything outside of the house, like finish everything before I get home, so that just relax. And yeah, I think that that comes into play when you're so used to some things. Now you're related to other things that you don't want it not naman to join worlds or like interact, because I mean Zoom, like you can use it for
Yeah.
anything, stuff like that. Like for us, for me, like early pandemic, like Zoom, Google Meets, or like Google Meets was like, oh, this is where you hang out, have your
Yeah.
inumans
But
and
it
stuff like
changed over
that.
time, yeah.
Yeah, so like we have these certain things for certain stuff, and like
Yeah.
you want to relate
Yeah,
to
no,
it.
and I actually super agree with you. I feel like that's one of the most difficult things actually during the pandemic is because, as human beings, we tend to spatially affiliate things. So
Mm.
like to your point, like I was also like that. Like whenever I was in school, I like using that for school, and then like
Yeah.
gym. It's like a different mindset for different places, and
Yeah.
I feel like it's just it is actually like just in our human nature to associate like different places with different like
Yeah.
moods, and
That's
like
true. That's
like when
true.
you're out in a bar, you're like a lot more extroverted, or when you're in
That's true.
class, it's like zone in or work. But like during the pandemic, your entire like life ended up being your room, right?
Yeah.
So that was actually one of the challenges that I had to adjust to early on, especially like when I first started vet school.
Mm.
Yeah, just so if any of the listeners don't know, I'm in vet school right now, second year. But just at the start, being able to kind of like spatially associate like different parts of my house to like cultivate a better work environment, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like it's still a struggle for me today because I'm still like mainly
Yes.
home
Still
based. We don't
there.
have face-to-face classes yet. But yeah, it's definitely tough because we're like a creature of spatial association.
Yeah.
So now like whenever I like sit on my desk, I try as much as possible to make it like for work talaga. And then like I have a couch naman also. So it's like if I'm chilling, then
So that's where you just
that's where I
chill.
chill. Just so that there's like some sort of differentiation, I
Yeah.
guess.
That also makes sense because during last year of college, like that second sem, and then the sem got cut short, and there was like a week of online class, which is not for me, by the way.
Yeah.
um,
It's a different
like
monster.
for people who know and who've been listening, I haven't. You all know about my new desk setup, naman, but like this was
It's
different
nice.
before. I was showing it to him a while ago, but like my desk, actually my whole room was different before. Like my desk used to be there, my bed used to be here. I think, yeah, you were here when, yeah, my
Yeah,
desk
a
used to be
long time
here,
ago.
and then my bed used to be here. So now it's all changed. Like for me, it's more space and stuff like that. So during that 1 week of like online classes, for the last week of college, I had to move downstairs, like in my our den,
Okay.
so that I could study, because like for my room I was just like, this is where I watch movies and TV shows and stuff like that. And then it's funny enough, um what do you call this? I started just playing downstairs and stuff like that. So it became useless, but
No,
same.
yeah, no.
It's
It
the
gets
same.
that's what makes it challenging because
Yeah,
like when these different locations like start to blend in and then
yeah,
you end up like doing like, different things in like the same area, then it's like that's when your productivity will also kind of like fluctuate talaga also.
yeah, yeah,
So, I mean, I'm not perfect. I still haven't gotten it down to the
yeah.
T. Sometimes I still watch like whether it be basketball highlights or use social media every once in a while on my table. But as much as possible, I just try to be
Yeah,
like
you want it to be your
mindful of it.
workspace
Yeah.
to like speaking of workspaces. I know everybody, this is supposed to be like a holiday podcast. We'll get to that later.
We
But
will. Patient ka lang.
speaking of workspaces, off air we were talking about like desks and how people, really, I don't know, got into doing their own desks, like desk
Yeah.
setups, like their own space, because just like you, like a lot of people started going to online school
Yeah.
and then online work, working from
No,
home.
because
So
like you spend majority of your day nowadays in front
yeah,
of your
on your
desk.
desk, right?
Yeah.
So like a lot of people got into, I don't know, I see it a lot of my friends, I'm probably a lot of your friends also,
Yeah.
like you see it in their stories, like they have such a nice desk setup.
Yeah.
And like,
It's
I don't know.
definitely like a quirky dude thing that I noticed also. I mean, I know
Yeah,
that there are
yeah,
girls also that
yeah,
like geek out on their desk setup.
yeah.
But for the majority, I find it's guys with
It's
like
guys
getting the
also, yeah.
RGB keyboards.
Hey,
Hey, meron naman din ako. I'm not canceling. I'm not
hey,
canceling. Meron naman din
mine
ako.
turns off.
It's nice. Like it just makes you feel like you're in the zone. You got like this
Yeah,
little
yeah, that's true.
safe
That's true.
space for you. And because I mean, for like areas that you're gonna be spending majority of your day in, that's what you invest in, right?
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
like this past quarantine, like I don't think I've ever bought new clothes, like because I don't really like go out anymore. So it's just like,
Same.
well, I mean, I'm not also shading anyone that does buy clothes. If it makes you happy, then by all
Yeah,
means.
yeah,
But like for me, like I sat on my desk every single day.
yeah.
So a lot of the things that I would pay for is like in my desk,
In your
whether it
desk,
be
yeah.
like a chair or like buying a new laptop stand, buying the keyboard. I bought a mechanical
Mm-hmm.
keyboard
Mm-hmm.
also. Not a big junkie. I don't really know much about the
Mm-hmm.
technicals, but it's just nice to have, diba?
Yeah.
Makes you feel a little bit more productive and
And
it's
yeah,
like clicky
it's
and
nice
shit.
the clickety clackety.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
clickety clackety. And then yeah, like I was talking off air to Chucky na at first like I wanted to go cheap a little bit on the chair. Or
Chair.
like the whole setup, like puro
Yeah.
Lazada lang, Shopee,
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
get like S deals lang. But yeah, I bought like a 2,000 peso chair from like Lazada.
Mm-hmm.
And then but it was just it really um performed like 2,000 pesos. Like it only lasted me about a year and then it was
Mm.
a high back daw pero hanggang like my nape
Baka high
lang.
back for me.
Yeah, high back for like the general Pinoy, but I'm kind of a big dude. And then tapos di niya kinaya yung weight ko. So, but now, if Mikey's watching this, shout out to Mikey. She got me a chair for Christmas and
Mm-mm.
game changer talaga. Like, I thought I was just getting old with these back problems. Yung pala,
No, no,
chair
no.
lang
But
pala,
chairs,
chair lang pala.
aside from everything else on the desk, I think chairs are like the most important for you health wise.
Dude, yeah, because it's your
Like,
body you're talking about here.
if you're comparing it to like your desk, your
Yeah,
monitor, and anything, parang
yeah,
the chair is what can make you really comfortable.
yeah,
And like, I mean, there are good chairs that you can get for cheap, but
yeah,
like, I realized that like recently lang na because I'm also one of those people like, why do you need an expensive chair? Honestly, it's just a hand me down from my dad, so
yeah,
okay lang, diba?
yeah.
It's not the best chair, but it
Serves
does its
purpose.
job.
Yeah, yes.
So, but my chair before, it's upstairs now. Oh my god, that's a high back. I think
Yeah.
that's a high back for you also, but the cushion was so bad, the
Ooh.
back support was so
Yeah.
bad. So like, I think now I realized, because in college when I was studying on my chair also, like I had so much back problems. Like for the people watching,
Mm.
of all my friends who know, like I used to complain about my back every single day in college. Like, and then I had to carry a big ass
Yeah.
bag pa with heavy
Right.
ass books, bio books pa. And then so I solid nga rin when you're in fourth and fifth year, being a ball pen na lang, no?
Yeah.
And your phone and your laptop, you're done. Who needs
Yeah.
books?
Super chill. Na puro paper na lang.
And then so I got rid of the chair last year when I started changing my desk and got this. And then
Yeah.
my dad got a new chair also. So
It's game changer kasi talaga.
yeah,
Like,
your back feels so much better.
yeah, that's one of the things like I learned, like you can't like go cheap on your body, especially when
Yeah.
you're talking about your
Yeah.
body. Because I mean, you can buy the elevated like monitor setup and
Yeah.
then you can buy like things to make it more ergonomic. But the chair talaga is what's
It's
gonna help. Because like
yeah.
that's what your body's like resting on majority of the time.
You don't have to get like a super
Yeah, you don't-
expensive chair, but like
Yeah, some of the chairs out there are ridiculous. Like we were talking that was it Harman
Harman Miller. I
Harman
think.
Miller. It's like 100 grand sometimes.
Ridiculous. That
What the hell, bro?
one. Okay, before I judge it, I want to know how comfy it is.
Yeah, I
before
want to
judge.
I want to sit
But
on it
it's
also.
a fucking chair
I
for
know,
100K,
right? Like
dude.
it should be
Dude.
like illegal to get like back pains or like if ever you
Yeah.
have back pains, they should pay for your pamasahe and
Yeah,
your
dude.
pa-release
Like it should
kasi
be on like your warranty. You're allowed to
Yeah.
return this if you get back pains.
yeah, or like only masahe or some shit.
Honestly though, kasi like, dude, monoblocks, they're pretty comfy, ah.
Yeah, no, there's 30, man.
Like just put a pillow on it,
Yeah.
like, and then maybe just a better pillow on the back.
Yeah,
But like,
yeah. I mean, a bit
monoblock,
short for me, but it does its job.
They do its job.
Yeah.
Like, okay, maybe not for long sitting, but like,
Yeah, honestly, like
2 hours a day, sige,
at,
pwede.
like before I got this new chair, like my old chair, the 2,000 peso ergonomic chair. It was so bad because there was like zero back support na
Uh-huh.
because I kind of broke it with my weight. Di niya kinaya. So parang every time you lean back, it's soggy, like a
Yeah,
soggy
yeah,
French
yeah.
fry. So like I essentially had to be like sit up erect the entire time,
Yeah.
and then that's why my lower back would hurt because I guess like I'm always engaging my core and my lower
Mm.
back to like support me from being up. I know it sounds very like fucking first world problems, like it's such a dumb shit to complain about, but like
No, man. No, man.
it was real. So like at one point I was like, "Taka kung monoblock man lang, feeling ko mas comfortable
Dude,
than this."
honestly, monoblocks surprisingly are very comfortable.
They're underrated.
They're
Monoblocks are
underrated. If you were to
underrated.
make a tier list of chairs, monoblock would probably, hindi naman sa S tier, probably the tier below it.
No, kahit C, mga C. Kasi pasado naman.
Okay, fine. C if it's just
I wouldn't say it's the
itself.
most comfortable thing in the world.
I'll put it at a B or an A if you have like some comfy ass pillows on it. Because
That's
it does
true.
its job,
Yeah.
man.
But what are you comparing it to? Like, how deep are we going into this world of chairs? Like,
I don't know because limited rin naman yung
yeah,
chairs
because nothing,
ginamit ko
nothing really
eh.
gets much cheaper than a monoblock.
That's true.
After monoblock, stool na. Tsaka hindi na yan chair.
Okay, stools are kind of uncomfortable.
I mean, they're nice
But
for smart, like short duration.
back to expensive chairs like the Herman Miller 100K chairs. Because for people who are listening last week, my cousin and I, we were talking about biking. Like
Okay.
it's
Yeah,
a
because he's been biking, no?
yeah, he's been biking like the leisure biking or the
Yeah.
workout. I don't know if you call it the workout
Yeah.
biking, but
Medyo long distance.
long distance, yeah, for leisure. So I was asking him, um, like how did that become? Because a lot of Filipinos, started biking right now because of the pandemic and then bike lanes and stuff
That's
like
the
that.
answer right there, the pandemic.
But he was telling me like when we were hanging out one time, like some bikes go for like 100 plus K, and I'm like, what the fuck? It's a bike. Okay, I understand. It's more reasonable to have a 100K bike
Then a
than a
100K chair.
100K
Hell
chair,
yeah.
right?
Hell yeah.
But
That makes a lot of
I was
sense.
also still thinking, I was like, it's a fucking bike. How
Yeah.
does it cost?
But
so
dude, like I mean, some people like make a living off bikes also, like professional athletes.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's why I understand.
Yeah.
It's a more, but
Yeah.
like because the context for that conversation was there are a lot of Filipinos who aren't as as well off as we are and stuff like that, and I wanted him to explore like biking here in the Philippines because it's a very accessible sport.
No, yeah, yeah.
It's
in
a
general.
very accessible sport na there are cheaper bikes,
Yeah.
there are the expensive bikes and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Or if you can just buy a normal bike
Like,
and ikaw na bahala. If
Yeah.
you just have to keep up with it because what makes a bike expensive naman, it's sturdiness and how light it is,
Yeah.
right?
Depends on what bike you're talking about also.
Yeah, yun
'Cause,
nga.
like, the cheap
So
ones tend to be mountain bikes also, but road
yeah.
bikes are a little bit more expensive.
Yeah, so like for that hobby, because I've seen a lot, like when I've gone to Tagaytay, there are a lot of people from different backgrounds who are just biking up and down Tagaytay, and I was like, um, it's such an accessible sport for Filipinos for different backgrounds because it's easy to get into. Like it's just biking basically, but like of course long distance biking and stuff like that. But like of course there's like a stigma of it's a how do I say it? I don't want to say pretentious because I don't want to insult the people naman who are biking, but like there's a stigma na it's a more a higher class sport. Gets ba? Like
Yeah, 'cause
we were talking about this in the context of golf also.
Yeah.
Like golf, it's not really accessible because there are a lot of fees
yeah.
to pay. Not your average Filipino can afford to golf.
Yeah.
But like here in biking, like comparing it to, because there are a lot of people who are getting into golf now also, which is kind of cool. Because like even me, like as a hobby rin, or
Yeah.
just for leisure and
Yeah.
but like for biking, like there are different ranges, and I'm seeing now that there are a lot of people enjoying it, especially the health benefits for
Yeah.
it. So like it's there's that stigma lang kasi na, especially with for the professionals, like I wanted to tell people like, you don't have to be super rich or you don't have to ride with the stigma na you have to have a lot of money to start in
Yeah.
this sport because you can start from the cheaper bikes.
Yeah,
those lower bikes and
sure.
stuff like that.
But yeah, like I think though, like with bikes, why there's also still a stigma kahit papano, because I mean, the cheapest like road bike, if we're talking road bike, kasi
Mm.
alam ko mountain bikes mas mura yung mga yun.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Pero if we're talking road bikes, that's still like 10K
Yeah,
to
it's
buy.
still a
It's still like, hanggang class C lang mga kaya
yeah,
yan. So,
yeah,
kahit papaano, it's medyo exclusive pa rin. Like, I mean,
yeah.
it's a privilege to be able to buy a bike.
There, that's what we call it, a
It's a
privilege
privilege
sport,
naman talaga.
basically. Yeah.
And golf, hands down, privilege sport naman
That,
talaga. Kasi
no,
mahal
that
naman
that
talaga.
that we didn't
Mahal naman
contest.
talaga.
It's a
Yeah.
privilege
Mahal
sport
naman
naman
talaga.
talaga.
Like, kahit driving range, it's like
Yeah.
what, 500 like
Mhm.
an hour,
Mhm.
diba?
Yeah.
And then like to get good, you need to practice,
You
and
have
that's
to
the only place
practice.
where you can really practice.
Yeah.
Of course, you can practice like putting, but then in
Yes.
general, like kailangan ng equipment, and then especially when you're playing talaga, kailangan ng caddy, and
Yeah.
then if you play with your friends, malamang may pustahan kahit like kahit konti, because like that's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
a
yeah.
thing that goes on with golf. But yeah, like
Yeah, it's a
it's
privilege
not a
sport.
hundred. Yeah, even
It's like it's harder to get into if
yeah.
you don't have, because I don't know. The only reason why I got into this convo is because I was in a conversation because of the word privilege. Because let's say that certain person is he does that sport, and I mentioned that it was a privilege sport, and sometimes it gets taken into the wrong con. We didn't have an argument, but like yeah, we talked about it. Like sometimes when you say privilege, it gets taken into the wrong context because I don't know, it associates with you being higher class, but most like it's more for me when you say you have privilege, it's just that you have the ability to, if you want, to do that sport. Basically, if I have in my good choice, like fine, if I have 10,000 and I only earn 10,000 a month, let's say, and I choose to go into the sport, it's my privilege because I'm spending for
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
diba?
No,
So,
it's like I think because there's a connotation around the word privilege in
yeah.
general. So like in like right now the word privilege just carries like an entirely different thing,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
elitista and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But so like in that context, it's like it's one thing. It's like different to be a privilege. Like it's a privilege
Mm.
to have a bike, but
Yeah.
then parang you're not privileged because you bike.
Yeah, yeah,
Gets
that's
that
true.
type of
That's
thing.
true.
But it like at the end of the day, it is a privilege because it's like you have a capital that you can use to invest in like whatever it be like biking or something like that that not all people have that
Yes.
opportunity. And
Yes.
like you were saying you have like 10K to buy a bike, like, and that's all you make is 10K, but you're choosing
Yeah.
to buy a bike. That's given the context of you're living in your parents' house. You don't necessarily need to pay for
Yeah.
food,
Yeah.
electricity, and all that
That's
stuff. Pero kung 10K lang talaga ang salary mo, tapos may pamilya ka pa na
yeah.
kailangan mo
You
ipagkain,
have to,
or like
diba?
all the commute and all that stuff, then you can buy a bike.
Yep.
Diba?
Yeah.
So, it doesn't mean that you're privileged, but it
Yeah.
is a privilege
It
for
is
sure.
a
Yeah.
privilege to have that because yeah, it's just I don't know because I had so many conversations with a lot of people na it's not just in the context of sports kasi especially now with the Christmas season coming, like you try to help out as much people as you can, especially after the pandemic and stuff like that. And then now the typhoon pa in Visayas, prayers up to people there. Especially we'll get to that
Yeah,
also
for
because
sure.
you guys are also doing something for that. But like in the context kasi of like also like watching shows and some movies, like especially now in the Filipino culture, like it's expanding to be more critical in a sense. Like there are more people who like more nuanced movies, some shows, some music. Like before, I could say from what I observed na parang it was just your mainstream. For Filipinos, it was just your mainstream movies and cultures and stuff like that. But now more people are going into the more artsy. Especially now, even more Filipino movies are going to the more artsy directions, more deeper directions, which is for me really cool because I really want to promote Filipino culture. Like even now, like Filipino podcasts, Filipino YouTubers and stuff like that. It's like the early 2010s. Like I could say from what I observed, it was a bit cringe.
Yeah, no,
Like
for
it was
sure.
just really trying to follow what the Western influencers were trying to do, or what was really hot on the West, diba? But now, for me, I could see like there's more of a deeper appreciation. I think it also helps with more people who are becoming more deeper influencers, like really connecting to their
Yeah.
audiences. Na more Filipinos are appreciating that side of.
Tsaka rin it's like, I feel like since content creators have entered like a bigger space talaga, and like,
Mm,
the Philippines is like the number, I think, three or four
no way.
highest YouTube users in general.
Akala ko YouTube kaya. I was like, no
No, no,
way.
YouTube users, and we
That's me.
just
I'm
like,
one of them.
yeah, 100% also. Like, I'm on YouTube way more than Netflix. But yeah, now that it's more accessible, there are more creators coming out.
Yeah.
Then it's more enjoyable also to watch Filipino creators because you have some sense of identity and
Mm,
you kind of resonate a little bit more.
yeah.
Because, like, the problems that they go through is the same as you. It's like, stuck in EDSA or
Yeah.
umulan na, hindi nagdala ng payong or like stuff like that. I mean, like, it's more relatable in general in
Yeah.
that context, and which is good because I think that's one of the good sides of like having the internet. There are a lot of good sides. There are also a
A
lot of bad
lot
sides,
on Twitter.
but yeah, it's cancel us. But yeah, like parang that's one of the good sides of like the internet kind of bringing the nation closer together.
Mm.
A lot of like everybody's like on TikTok now, and there's like an entire algorithm for Pinoy TikTok, which is like great also, honestly. Like, wala, it's
That's actually great. Yeah.
yeah, dude. I'm
I
not
used to
gonna
shit
lie.
on TikTok a lot,
Nah,
dude.
man, it's the
I used to
best.
shit on.
It's the best.
No,
I
because TikTok, when it started out in the pandemic, it was cringe.
Yeah,
But
because it
it
was all
started,
girls dancing and like random.
it was all dances. Okay,
Yeah,
I know people like, there are a lot of people still do it and
yeah.
still like it. You do you, but like for me, it was cringe. But now it's just becoming like
It expanded
Vine.
kasi also.
It's like becoming
Yeah,
Vine, dude.
and like, dude, galing talaga TikTok's
Yeah.
algorithm because I feel like there's an algorithm for everyone, but everyone's different like preferences.
Let me get you on that because I was watching a video on YouTube. On, I think they were doing a tier list on social media platforms, and I was like, they were debating on TikTok, right? For me, of course, TikTok will be like probably fine middle, but they were talking about how revolutionary TikTok's algorithm is,
Yeah.
and that was the first time I've heard a bit about it. And now you mentioned, I was like, fuck, so it probably must be a
No,
really
it's good.
good.
It's really good because like I mean everybody, like, especially our generation, the medyo older ones that grew up with Instagram
Yeah,
really and
yeah.
like even Twitter,
Mm.
YM pa tayo, mga
Ooh,
ganon.
YM,
Was it MySpace,
MySpace,
like
yeah.
all of that stuff. Na parang TikTok was just so foreign to us because it was like a different type. Which in reality, if you think about it, it's pretty much Vine
It's
essentially
pretty
too. It's
much
just that
fine
yeah,
now.
but building off what you were saying is like at the start, medyo cringy kasi puro dancing
For
or
me, it was
whatever
cringy.
it may be. But now it's like it expanded to all creators. So
Yeah.
there's like an algorithm for each and every niche and each and every interest, and it captures it so well. Between
Mm-hmm.
like TikTok and YouTube, I think those two have like the best algorithm. If anything, nga, like I haven't been enjoying Instagram's algorithm. It's been pretty bad for me personally. Like, cause I feel like it only shows me like I don't like how it's not chronological anymore.
What do you mean? Ah, like
In
the
the
post.
feed,
I
yeah.
don't even notice.
Yeah, it's not chronological anymore, which I mean, it's nice sometimes because it keeps you engaged with the pages that you interact with the most.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like a lot of the people that you follow that you don't interact with, they kind of get buried down below. Same with
Mm-hmm.
like the stories and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I mean, I still use it 100%. I'm still on
Yeah.
Instagram,
Same.
but like it's not been the best. It like
Yeah.
after a while I get umay na with Instagram. After
I.
excellent amount of stories, after a couple of like
Oh.
swipes, but then YouTube and TikTok,
Dude,
bro, I
YouTube.
could be on that shit for hours.
If YouTube did like a Spotify Wrapped,
Yeah,
I'd
that would be
probably
sick.
have like thousands of hours on YouTube this
No,
year.
same,
Yeah.
hard same.
Probably my most of my day, if I'm not working, it's on YouTube. If I'm
Yeah,
not gaming, also it's on YouTube. But like speaking of like Instagram and like its usability, like for me, I've stopped using it a lot. Like if you have noticed, like even in my close friends' stories, like and stuff like that, if you've noticed, it's always just sports.
yeah,
Like I don't, for me, I don't post a lot anymore. Like I've tried to cleanse myself from social media. In social media, when I say social media, like the personal social media, like posting on Facebook, Twitter, or like Instagram and stuff like that. Because before I was so addicted, just posting everything on Instagram and then stories, and I'm like, fuck, why did I do that? No,
but what was your motivation to stop like the clans?
parang one, like the normal answer. I just got bored. but two, also I didn't need it. Like I realized, especially in the pandemic, like I didn't need hindi naman sa validation. Because I think before I was just like I wanted to share everything in my life, which is not bad. If you want to share everything in your life, go ahead. But for me, like I think that which was also the problem of Instagram and the whole influencer life right
Yeah.
now is it painted a picture of having a life, an unrealistic life of like chasing likes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
On like normal posts, like if you want to be an influencer and you're chasing like that's
Yeah.
fine. But like for a normal person, like for me, like it felt like I had to get hindi naman sa I had to get a certain amount of likes, but like if you don't
Yeah,
get at least 10 likes,
you were
parang
associating it with like your self-worth, like that type of
yeah,
thing.
so
Yeah.
parang I during the pandemic, buti lang I think one good thing that came out from the pandemic for me is like I realized like since my day was just same thing every day, I was like I'm so bored of just posting this. Parang are people still like do people even care and stuff like that? So I stopped posting a lot. Then I just started posting like sports
Yeah,
stuff
because
and
that's the
stuff.
thing also with social media, man. It fucks with your mental health sometimes. Because
Yeah.
it's like like that's one of the negative things also about the internet is that it kind of compare you end up comparing yourself to other people,
Mm-hmm.
and because like Instagram is such a glamorized version of people's lives, and
Yeah.
whether they be like fucking like Kim Kardashian or Kendall Jenner, and like all of these influencers and stuff like
Yeah.
that, that's still a glamorized portion of their lives.
Yep.
That's not actually like their full lives. And like yeah, I was definitely in your position also before. Like parang I wanted to do a couple of detoxes, and I have like throughout the pandemic,
It's good.
1 week detoxes every once in a while.
Yeah.
But then the thing that I learned naman with I guess with my relationship with social media, how it's kind of changed also. Like I still use it a lot now, but I realized that when I came to like posting, as much as possible, I try not to, you know, well, I don't anymore. I mean, like sometimes I have to for like especially like if I'm getting endorsed for a brand or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
Of course.
But like I try to keep it as like authentic as possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like not because before I used to like kind of post like the glamorized stuff also, my food all the time, or like shoes going out and stuff like that, parang glamorized lifestyle. But then now like I just post whatever like keeps like whatever I find exciting or
Mm-hmm.
whatever interests me,
Mm-hmm.
because like before also like I do have a Finsta also, like I created a Finsta because I wanted like to post more raw stuff or
Yeah,
pang
yeah,
NSFW stuff,
yeah.
diba? But then as of late, like I haven't really been using my Finsta as much because I really just post like whatever na lang.
Yeah.
I mean, when it comes to that's also what I try to do like with mga because I'm like a micro influencer, I guess. Like I
Yeah.
get these like really small gigs long. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I do it because like free stuff, bro.
Yeah.
Free stuff, and like all I have to do is post
Sponsor him there,
yeah,
sponsor. Just
yo,
hit him
what's
up.
up? My number will be on the details. I'm just kidding. Gcash number ko po ay 0917. Uh, but yeah, like, wala. Parang I just try to choose brands also that like, I really resonate with or that I
Yeah, of
believe in.
course, of course, of
Like at the
course.
start, I was just like picking whatever na lang.
Yeah, of
But then
course.
like now it's like if I want to do something, and it's kind of like a I wouldn't say entitled, but like it's a rule that I made for myself actually to just like not post stuff just for like the sake of posting it. Like I actually like have to like what the product
Yeah,
is. I have
yeah,
to like
yeah.
believe in it, and if it doesn't align with like my personal values and all that
Yeah.
jazz. So yeah, just like trying to as I'm trying because it's not perfect for sure. Like there's some times where I end up posting stuff that's not as authentic,
Yeah.
but like as much as possible. That's why I try to make my relationship now with social media just like raw shit. Like
Which is actually very nice to hear because like the last few episodes nga, like the first few episodes of when we were talking about passion projects and small businesses, right? And one question I always used to ask is because for me, what I've noticed with people who are doing their passion projects and they're who've opened up small businesses, and since they're my friends rin naman, I know them, like there's more care to it. Even the people who are just influencers and who
yeah,
post a lot, like there's more care to it now. Like I think from our generation, I can't speak for the younger generation, but like from our generations, like the older millennial. Apparently, we're still part of the millennials,
we're
but
like in no man's land. We're in
we are
between
like the
Gen Z
97,
and
98,
yeah,
sometimes the 99.
yeah.
Like
We're in no man's
we're
land.
in no
I
man's
mean, we
land,
can kind of fuck with like both. Like
but
we can be kind of
it's
millennial, but then we can get along the man with the Gen Z people.
can we
Then,
just have our own niche? Like those 3 years, can we just have our own
well,
niche?
we're misfits, bro.
But like yun nga, like Um, what could I say?
Well, yeah, like I mean, social media it has like it's a double-edged sword. It like you need to know how to wield it in order to keep like your mental sanity. Because I don't
Yeah.
know.
Okay. Wait. Now. Okay. I
Okay, you
remember
got
now.
it. You got
I remember.
it.
No. Like there are more people, especially now, business owners from our batch and older batches and younger batches, like who are more conscious of if they're influencers, they're more conscious of the brand they're repping. Like, well, maybe this is for me knowing that my friends are influencers and like knowing how how they choose their brands and stuff like that. But like, I don't know, maybe older people also used to do that. But like, it shows more to like their audience that these are really in line with my values. And I don't know, maybe just for me knowing people who are like advertising for certain brands, like you can just really see na they really care for the brand, because there are a lot of per se influencers, big influencers like in the States or in Europe na parang they can scam you. Like they rep a brand and then, like it's a scam, right? So I don't know. For me, oh well, it also happens here in the Philippines. But for me, like the general trend that I see with like our generation influencers and maybe the younger and a bit older generation, like there's more of a consciousness to what they represent.
No, and not only that, like I agree with you 100% also with what you say. And I think like to your point, like the pandemic actually like influenced that as a lot as well because everybody was kind of forced to self-reflect talaga and just to be more conscious with like I mean existential crisis. Like I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure
dude.
everybody went through
I
at
think
least
everybody
one
went.
throughout the quarantine.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think also the branding of influencing products or services had to change also because parang people could see through like just hard selling na. Like if it's
Yeah,
like if you're
that's
just like
true. Yeah.
straight up promoting a product like this is like this like what's something that I see a lot on Instagram, like Head and Shoulders or some shit like that, diba? Like Head and Shoulders and buy no more dandruff for me or some shit
Yeah,
like that,
yeah,
diba?
yeah.
Parang you know it's an ad, then you're just gonna scroll through it, diba?
That's
You're not gonna read
true.
it at
That's
all.
true.
Like if you're
That's
really
true.
just like showing the product like that there, it's like
Mhm.
you're not really gonna look at it.
Mhm.
So in order for it to stand out, in order for you to get your analytics a little bit better, you have to like incorporate a little bit more personalization to it, right?
Yeah.
Find ways to get people engaged in the product that you're trying
Yeah.
to like endorse,
Yep.
diba? And so if it's like a product that you don't really believe in or you don't actually like diba? And you're just saying yes for like the money, then it's a little bit harder to do that, right?
Yeah.
Because you have no interest in it
Yeah.
in general. So
Yeah.
if it's something that you believe in, then you can craft a nice caption, you can think of a good concept of like how you're gonna show it.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
yeah.
Because I have a friend, if Marcos in chat, um, yeah, he's a vlogger and he does med vlogs right now. But like, sometimes he asks me, kasi, if this is a legit sponsor and stuff like that. For me, I mean, I don't get sponsors. I'm not an influencer, but like, it's actually really intrigued me because like, how do you know if this brand is legit, diba? Like, I mean, for you, like, how do you know? Aside from the big brands, malamang, but like, let's say if there's like not naman a smaller brand, but like a less well-known brand, like how do you know if they're legit?
What do you mean?
Because
How do you know if it's legit?
like there's some, oh fine, if there's some, like I don't know if you've gotten offers na parang they're not really well known,
Yeah.
but they
Small
seem like
businesses. Or no?
they're okay. Like how do you discern that?
Well, I mean, first of all, if they're getting you to endorse something, then you're providing them a service and they're offering you compensation, right? So if it's a product that you like, even if it's a small brand, like let's say, um, whatever's here, water jugs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, hey, we want you to post like about our water jugs and stuff like that. Obviously, you're not. There's no investment for you. They're gonna send you the water jug, and then you're gonna post.
Mm,
Diba? You just give them your address,
that's true.
and then like as long as they don't like seem sketch, like just a random Instagram account saying, "Can I have your address?" Like water jug store po kami. Gusto kitang isend ng water jug dito, and it's like from random user or something. Obviously, that's a red flag, right? But then if they have like an Instagram account, they have like a decent following. They have pub mats, and like if you believe in like water
Yeah,
jugs, like do you believe in water? I believe in water
I
jugs. I
believe in
love
water
water jugs.
jugs. I
Like
mean,
I can't survive anymore without it.
imagine, like I can. We're gonna get into that later also because it just came into my head. But yeah, that's true. Like, it never hit me kasi na parang, oh ano.
Yeah.
they offer you nga
Yeah, they're offering
you
you.
pay.
You're doing the service. So
I've always thought in my head like you need to pay a talent fee or something.
definitely on your depends on your reach. Like
That's true.
with my girlfriend Mikey, she's like definitely a bigger influencer than me because she gets more gigs. But she has like a rate talaga. Like if you want to get
Mm.
her, then there's like usually a rate with different packages, like depending on how much content you put, how many stories, how many Instagram posts, if kung IGTV or something like that. Then it then it
Sheesh.
like depends, diba? It
Wow.
depends on like or IG Reel pala.
Yeah.
IGTV is phased out na. Um,
Wala na nga
but
pala yan.
yun, so it's like they like comes with different packages, and
Yeah.
honestly, like you don't lose anything. Like if anything, you're putting your time and your efforts editing to do it. So as long as they send you something, then
Oh.
sure. It gets dicey where if like they don't send you the money, diba?
Yeah, of course. That's cash.
Or and then there's also like other like the vice versa where where the influencers don't post the content, like they'll
Yeah.
send you the stuff, they'll send you the money, but then they don't post it. So it's like it's a business talaga. I mean, there are gonna be some rude people out there too, but
Yeah, of course.
it's definitely like I think it's very powerful for small businesses just getting word of mouth out,
That's true, of course, of
diba?
course, of course.
Especially if you like it's a thing of a friend, just try to like
Yeah.
post it for someone, like
Yeah.
sure. And for me, like as long as it's free shit, free
Oh,
shit.
true.
I never say free no to free shit and money, obviously. And like as long as like the whatever I'm trying to promote, like I
Yeah,
like the
resonates with
product
you.
or resonates with me, I believe in it, then sure. Like I'm not gonna like fucking like for example, Head and Shoulders. Like I don't really I mean, no, if Head and Shoulders, if you want to sponsor me, maybe we could talk. But right now, I don't know how I'm gonna craft something about that, diba?
Yeah.
Or what's something that I don't use at all? Like I don't know. It needs to like if it fits with my lifestyle, with the
Yeah.
stuff that interests me, then I'd be down.
It's interesting because I don't know. My eyes have opened right now because right now I've told you about this, and I think I've talked about this on the podcast. Now I don't fuck with like social media shit. Like even now, even with the story of like me getting off Instagram and stuff. Like I want, especially with the podcast
Yeah,
streaming, I want to make it big. Naturally, of course, but like of course I still want to self promote and stuff like that. But in my head it's just like fuck, it's so tedious and stuff like that. And like let's say if I want to get a sponsor on the podcast, like I'm fine with it. Or if someone wants to sponsor, I'm fine with it. It's just because for everyone who knows naman na the podcast for me, it's more just chill. It's just more for me naman and just for people to get a taste of what other people's lives are and like what other the situations are, and that's why it's called What's Life Like,
yeah,
right? So takto, What's Life Like as an influencer, mini influencer. But like yun nga, it's just it never occurred to me na it could be like that. Because for me, I think in my head it's like, they just send you an email, you just accept it. And it's like, okay, let's just pay you and then
yeah.
like I mean
Sometimes
sometimes it's like that.
sometimes it's
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah,
But like it's just so eye opening because I've never thought of na you're providing them a service,
yeah,
'di ba? Like, okay, let's send you free shit,
yeah,
and then this is what we'll pay you with, and then ikaw na lang bahala. But
yeah.
like, I've never thought of it like that because,
So you never thought of like this podcast as ever being like a business type of thing, really more of a hobby?
like, it's more for me personally as a hobby. Like, if this one day blows up, because I was telling you nga, parang, um, as much as the jank setup and stuff like that, of course, I want to make it better. I want
Yeah,
to deliver like um, at least, hindi naman sa okay product, but like a product in a way that it's satisfactory to me. Like, for the people watching or for the people who've been listening the past two episodes. Even now, I don't know if the audio is good right now. It was good at the start,
sana naman.
but like, yun nga, like the audio for the recordings, it's echoey and stuff like that. I want it to at least be manageable to at least a decent level. Now,
Yeah,
it's just okay. Now, if it blows up or if it gets a following, that's fine with me. But like, um, I don't see it as but it's not gonna be income generating.
yeah,
So, like, I don't want to pour as much time in it as possible. But if I start feeling it out, especially now with live
yeah,
podcasts, like maybe if I get someone big here, like
yeah.
especially now I'm thinking about it, like you were saying that. Oh fuck! If I want to get someone, do I have to pay them a talent fee? Like,
If they're your
I
friend,
don't.
of course you don't.
Like, of course, that's why. But
Yeah,
like, what if I want to make it big and I want to get someone famous, right? But like, still, like I was just thinking, like, what if I get someone famous, like interview them or ask
Yeah.
them to be on the podcast. But I was thinking of that in my head when you were talking. Na fuck. As much as okay, fine, I want to pay them to just get on the
Yeah.
podcast, but like at the same time, there's no
No,
ROI.
I
Eh.
don't. Yeah, definitely.
There's no
There's
ROI
none.
on
There's
that.
none talaga. So that's why, like, I think if you like, that's how I've kind of like shifted a view also a little bit because at the start when I first started out, like early 2020, like around June,
Mhm.
it was really just like wala lang because I was already on Zoom calls with friends and I just
Yeah.
wanted to record it and make it more chill. But I've ended up falling in love with like the process of content creating. I do like enjoy creating content and feels like rewarding for me. Like
Yeah.
there's like some self fulfillment out of it, and it
Mhm.
feels good also like to know that other people enjoyed it and all that. So I want to incorporate it talaga to like the things that I do because
Mhm.
I'm like personally proud of it also. But like at the same time, I'm investing a lot of time in it.
Yeah.
And right now, like my most valuable resource is really time
Time,
since I'm
especially with
like,
you in school,
yeah,
pa.
with school pa. So like, I mean, I do classify it as a hobby, but if I'm investing so much time and putting out so much hard work, and I'm not sure if I told you this before, but like around October actually, I was really burning out in
Yeah.
general because it
Okay.
was just a lot of things at the same time. I
Yeah.
had exams, then working with like work for the future, then I
Yes.
had Rock's Modern Life, and then I
Yeah.
had my school org pa. It was just
Yeah.
weighing a lot. So and then I it's like started to reflect like all of these things that I was doing is like not income generating,
Income
right?
generate.
So it's
Yes.
like just I'm not like focused on the money. Like don't get me wrong, like that is not the main goal.
Yes.
But it would be nice if there's a way to like kind of optimize it in such a way where it at least opens doors, like makes it a
Yes.
possibility
Yes.
and stuff like that. But like to your point of getting like high profile guests, I feel like you won't ever need to pay them, mainly because of the reason that if they're down to do a podcast, it's because they want to,
That's
not
true.
necessarily because it's like a gig.
That's true. That's
And
true.
if you want a really famous person, there's not enough money like I don't think you got enough money to pay them to do
Yeah.
something that they don't want to do,
Yeah,
right?
that's
You know
true.
what I'm
That's
saying?
true.
Like if you're trying
Yeah.
to get James Reed in here or something like that, like his hourly rate is probably really, really high. So like do you are you willing to spend like 300 grand on like James Reed just
James Reed, you
for him
can,
that like he doesn't really want to be here? Like but
James Reed, you can talk about your life. You know, it's fine. It's
but yeah,
free. I
I'm just
mean,
saying, like, there's different ways also to
yeah,
get
there's
like
different ways. That's true. Yeah.
high profile people. Like the high profile people that I've gotten on my podcast was just through
Yeah,
friends.
friends.
Yeah, but I tried also with other high profile individuals, like straight up just cold turkey
Message.
asking them, like,
Oh, okay.
diba, like reaching out
Yeah,
to
yeah,
them,
yeah.
and I've gotten rejected a couple of times too. But that's fine
It's fine,
because
dude.
like it's worth a shot. Like if
Yeah, of
I
course.
was
I
able to,
mean, you miss 100% of like.
hell yeah,
Okay, wait.
you got
Yeah,
kind
everybody
of
knows that quote.
you
So
know the
yeah,
100% of the shots you don't take.
yeah. There you go.
Yeah, man, shoot it, shoot, dog.
Yeah, but like, I think that's one thing I'm also trying to learn because, yun nga, like, as much as I don't want, hindi naman sa I don't want the podcast to get big, but like, yun nga, you're talking about getting on friends, and that's basically also, because I think I've said this before also on the podcast, like, I don't want to limit this to my friends because, again, the essence of the podcast is what's life like. So you want to get people from different backgrounds and stuff like that. But at the same time, where I am, it's my house, so I can't just invite random people here. So, um, right now it's just limited to my friends, but I really want to grow it into something that really gets to different people.
So what's your goal? Like, do you have a
Right
goal in
now,
mind?
it's still right now, it's still a hobby. Like it's just for me to get to talk to my friends, get to a different aspect, get to
Right.
different views and stuff like that. And for other people to enjoy, like,
Yeah.
if you want to listen to a podcast or something that's more closer to you or more life in the Philippines, you can just listen to it. But again, if it ever grows into something, because I also want it to be, um, I also, for me personally, I want to also get to know the lives of, different people from different
Yeah.
backgrounds, like the rich people, the poor people, the people who are struggling, the middle class and stuff like that. Like I personally love Filipino culture kasi. Like but I see it changing. It's a very long discussion that I don't want to get into it, but like it's so hard to define Filipino culture right now because the mix of the different generations basically. Like there are different s- social aspects to it, like the way how many generations grew up at different times. So it's hard to get in. It's hard.
It's
It's
such an
such a complex.
umbrella niche kasi also
Yeah.
And that was kind of like the struggles that I was going through also with my pod, because like as you know, it was like more or less like this
Yeah.
time also
Mm-hmm.
just talking to friends, whatever I found interesting,
Mm-hmm.
also talk about that. But I don't know, it's just such a big umbrella, so it's a little bit hard to um you know find your true crowd in that sense,
Mm-hmm.
because like you're just talking about anything that like you're interested in, and at the end of the day that becomes like you're that crowd, because like
Yes.
it's only, I mean, of course there are gonna be like-minded individuals, but
Yes.
like generally speaking you're appealing to like one
Yeah.
crowd lang
Yeah.
also,
Yeah.
which is not a bad thing if you're keeping this as like a hobby. But then if you will have like a long, like a, I don't know, like a longer term goal or like a direction of where you want this to go,
Mm-hmm.
then I think it's important also to kind of understand like what you want the podcast to be like what you were saying, like you like how you get to talk to different age groups of different classes and stuff like that, and maybe that could be like your specific niche also, in a sense, like literally like you won't- you don't need to get like super high profile people all the time,
Yeah,
like
of course.
your niche could be like the diversity of it.
Yes.
So it's like you could honestly interview your dad, or
Mm-hmm.
like interview your yaya naman,
Yeah.
and then interview someone like a rich friend that you
Yeah.
have, and then I don't know, interview like if you could find a way to like get like an indigenous person or something,
Yeah.
like there's that could be like your specialty like of your podcast, diba?
Yeah.
Just people from completely different backgrounds,
Yep.
either completely different or so similar that it's like next door, like your ate or like, diba? That would be
It's funny nga kasi because what do you call this? I was taking extra classes, like just for fun classes. I don't know if you were listening in last week. No, that episode will be up. Fuck, when will that be up?
no, Ramon.
Yeah.
I tuned in actually for a bit, but then I couldn't comment because I don't have a Twitch, lol.
Yeah,
So
that's a big thing. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. But like, what do you call this? What do you, how did I lose so much things in my head so fast?
that's fine. But yeah, I tuned in for a bit actually with Ramon. Like I wanted to say what's up, but I forgot. I think it was like the start palang, like at
Yeah,
2:30 mismo.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
It's fine. It's all good, dude. I don't really mind if no one really watches live naman because it's hard because the timing and
yeah,
available.
right.
That's fine right now, diba, with I'm posting stuff, but wala, the audio. Anyway, fuck, what was I saying?
Kaya mo yan, dude.
Audio.
But yeah, like I think we were talking about podcasts in general, your podcast, and then like just a kind of direction that where you want to take it. Because like me personally, the way I was like telling you, I was kind of dealing also with that issue
Just
of
go
like,
ahead, just go ahead.
yeah.
I'm thinking here.
I'm also just like brain farting, so I'm talking to you na lang, listeners. So that Chucky can remember. But yeah, I was like going through like a direction, identity crisis of what I wanted the podcast to be. So that's why I'm taking a break again, because I've taken like a couple of breaks just to kind of recollect. And like I realized that I think moving forward, I'm probably gonna move towards more animal centric things, because I mean I am in vet school,
Mm.
and it's something that I am passionate about, and it's something that I can be excited about to share with other
Yeah,
people. And I
yeah,
feel like that's also something, like it's a valuable like niche and information to
oh
put
yes,
out
of
there for
course, of
like
course, of course, of course.
pet care, and like the
That would
do's
be a
and
solid
don'ts for
podcast.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, like,
You're
and
just talking about how people should take care of your. I mean,
I
you
can't
can't.
legally
Yeah,
tell
yeah.
people because
But
I'm not
like
like the
you know,
vet.
like your own
Yeah,
experience,
I
like
can like
start
just break
small.
down like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
like difficult concepts like what
yeah,
is parvo virus, how do dogs get it,
yeah. That's
what are usual things that happen when you first get a dog, like what are things to watch out for. I can't exactly give dog training things also, because I'm not, I mean,
not
although I
allowed
have
to.
a, yeah, I'm
Mm.
not a dog behaviorist or a
Yeah,
trainer,
yeah, of course, of course.
and you need like some level of credibility. Despite
Yeah,
like me having a lot of interaction with dogs, it's like
yeah,
I'm not like I don't feel credible enough to give that type of advice. But breaking down like more of the
yeah.
healthcare side of it, and even just like fun things like what are like the best dogs to have in the Philippines. Like those are like the type of things that I
My
thought
dog.
about.
Joke lang.
Huh?
My dog.
Everybody's answer is gonna say their own dog. But like yeah, like going through different breeds, like what might be best,
Yeah. So
diba?
it's more like of a I don't want to say it's like YouTube but podcast format.
Yeah, no,
Diba?
yeah, and I definitely actually might
Because
migrate to YouTube also, because I'm already posting on YouTube. I'm already
yeah,
spending so much time on my videos. Like, might as well like do it make it sabay na lang, make it a video, and then export the audio in such a way where
Yeah.
it can be in the podcast. So medyo like preview for
Because
you guys out there.
now that you've mentioned it, like those kinds of podcasts. I mean, those kinds of podcasts have been there for a bit, but like I've realized now because in college when I was listening to a lot of podcasts, it's more of the current news of a given topic, like let's say the sports, like
Yeah.
NBA. Sometimes you listen to NBA
And it's
podcasts, and
niche
then
down, diba?
it's very
Yeah.
niche down,
You go
right?
to like the Knicks podcast, diba? You
Yeah,
go to like the Locked on Knicks or something like that,
yeah.
diba, to find it.
And then but now it's there. There's like a shift also. I know there are a lot of educational podcasts also, but like there's also a shift to that kind of content as a podcast format because I don't know, it's very accessible because if you're not on YouTube and you're just listening in the car, it's also
Yeah. The
very
car, working out, taking a
relaxing
walk,
also.
diba?
Yeah.
Making coffee in the morning, going through
Yeah,
your
just
routine.
listening to it. And it's kind of cool because yeah, podcasts used to be like this, like just people talking or talking about current news or a certain topic, but now people have turned it into something educational also. It was just really helpful because if you need a certain topic, just like yun nga, for you and your pet care and your vet med and stuff like that, you can give out that information in a different format that people can have an option to listen to also when they're
For
not.
me, the most important thing, because of moving forward, is like I want to be able to provide value to people, and like, because for the most part, like, I mean, that was always like one of the goals of the podcast, about
Mm-hmm.
like to dissect like different
Mm-hmm.
like industries and professions and talk to
Yeah.
them like kind of like this, what life is like
Yeah.
also. But like thinking about it, that was also like a little bit for my personal value. Like it made me like it was subjects that I was interested in,
Yeah.
diba? Like because you don't want to talk about things you're not interested
Of
in.
course, of
But
course.
like now, like I think I want to like start shifting into providing value for others, diba? What's something that like I am particularly credible for, like that I could talk
Okay.
about and
Yeah, of
provide
course.
value for others. Because like I mean, this I still love doing these types of podcasts, mainly from my human connection with the other person, being able
Yes.
to converse and
Yes.
connect and just really exchange and have
Mm-hmm.
a like a fun conversation. But like it's also different also to approach it like um is there like a certain thing that could be taken out from this episode, right? Like what did I learn from this episode exactly?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And right now nowadays short format's like king,
Yeah,
diba?
short format is
Short format's king.
king
It's like
now.
everybody's gotten a little bit more busy, so it's a little bit harder to consume like
Yeah.
long content like forms. But I want to be able to do both also, because like I love doing podcasts also, and I also learn a lot from listening to long form, because you get to really experience the conversation develop,
Yeah,
diba?
yeah,
And
yeah.
like just like how it gets more fluid, and it's just authentic and raw. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
also nice to kind of like consume and create those type of things.
But back to that, I finally remembered.
Hey,
I I
nice.
I, I agree with everything because what do you call this? Wait, no, I just merged two things into one. No, but I agree with what you said. Na parang short format is king. Like now, I have to think of like clips to put on the podcast. Like I don't want to do that because as what you said a while ago, like um editing takes so much time. Like me, I'm like minimum effort. Like if you've seen my first video, like the only thing I've edited there, I just dropped an audio put in like an intro of me saying that the audio is fucked up. That's it. And then I just cut out the like first 5 minutes of the stream is starting screen. That's it. That's all the editing I did. But now I realized because as much as I don't want to really become a social media content creator, like, because again, I just want this to be chill. Like, I just want to record, go live, and then, um, no, just leave it posted. That's it. I don't care about the aesthetics and everything. But at the same time, in the back of my head, like, I want to make it look good. I want to present this. I want to share it in the Monday and I want to hit that target audience. But it just plays in the back of your head. Like, you don't want it. Like in my head, like I don't want it to blow up, or like I don't want to become this this content creator. But in the back of your head, it's like, fuck, I also want to get
Yeah.
again, diba? You
No, for
want it to
it's your
be,
ego also that's like
yeah.
craving that stuff, and I think that's fine, because that's also motivation for you to
It's
keep going.
motivation, yeah.
But yeah, like I think
I just have to find the right stride of getting to editing. Because editing, there are a lot of
it's a lot of work, man.
nuances, a lot
It's a
of
lot of
work.
work. I mean, these content
Like
creators, they get compensated, but they get compensated well because they work hard. And
because I've realized like just even doing small edits, like when you see YouTube videos and that really have good editing, you're like,
yeah,
fuck me, those are fucking
yeah,
that
man.
takes time and those are fucking
I
good,
was
dude.
actually just with Ryan Rosella recently.
Speaking of, I was just watching his video.
Yeah, and he
So
makes
shout
great
out Ryan.
videos, right?
Yeah,
Like
dude.
super informational, very like niche down on Filipino culture, and he really like
Yeah,
dissects it very, very well. But that's a
Ryan, you're gonna come on the podcast.
dude. He'll be super G, man. Like
I was
no
thinking,
cap.
when I'm like, I want to get more people who aren't just like the recurring guests or like the people who are close to me or who I really know well, but
Yeah,
like when I have a better camera.
yeah. We'll get there. We'll get there.
And when my audio is not fucked. So because I want that experience
Yeah.
when like with my cousin. Sorry, Paolo, like it's taking long
Okay
to
lang,
post
Ramon. Pogi ka
because
pa rin.
it's taking long to post because the audio is so bad. But like that's why hopefully I'm really it sounded well. It sounded okay kanina. That's why hopefully it's not fucked. But yun nga, hope I'm looking into just getting a better camera for at least the wide shot. That's why it's two because a lot of people brought up the first time I did this with Trish na people thought we weren't in the same room because as you can see
Yeah.
the screen is one you and then just me in the background,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So it looks like you're in your room
Right.
and then I'm in my room. I just blew it up.
You want to
But
get like a wide so that you can like put it there and
yeah,
like
so para it's just
yeah, one
one
shot
whole
na.
shot,
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna sit there then para it's just more comfy.
Yeah.
You see my background. I worked
Yeah,
on that.
you're working harder now. You gotta flex it.
Yeah, diba? So yun nga, just to up the quality a little bit better. So yun nga, hopefully there. But
Yeah, tama naman. Because like
um
actually like me also, I never really wanted to invest a lot into my podcast at the start because it was really just a hobby. It wasn't anything.
yeah.
Bought like a 500 peso mic on Shopee. Then I was using my dad's Zoom Pro account lang just to record. Tapos GarageBand lang,
Edit,
iMovie.
yeah.
Yeah, and I still used it for a long time. But after a while, I wanted to like start investing. So I got Lexi Wasmer to create my art. Shout out to Lexi, great artist.
Solid.
Then I bought a nicer mic for myself. Like I got a dynamic mic, which is kind of like noise canceling in the
Yeah.
sense where it doesn't pick up as much background noise because sometimes my dog would bark or my dad would like storm down. So it's like I wanted to invest a little bit more to make the audio quality better
Yeah.
for my audience because like honestly nowadays the standard of quality is just so high kasi it's so
So
high
high.
and
Dude,
people
if
won't
you throw
return.
back to high school YouTube videos and content creators,
Dude,
dude,
yeah.
sabog
It's not
na.
now it's like cinematic and all of
That's
that
why, dude,
stuff.
it's so pressuring, no?
Because it's a real job na. It's a real
Yeah, it's
job
a real
na. And
job.
that's like what makes it tough right now also. I mean, I'm not necessarily saying that you need all this gear kagad to get started. Like I think the most important thing is starting.
Yeah,
But
that's. I think we've talked about
yeah.
this before. Like, honestly, even now, like with all my uh cheap shit, like I don't really care. Like, of course, I want to improve, but like, I think the most important takeaway we had from that conversation is just get it started.
It works.
There's
It works, yeah. So
the fear is oh fuck, I lowered my mic. The fear is there of getting started. Like
yeah.
you're gonna have that anxiety of fuck, is this gonna be good? People like but if you literally just started, like I've talked to a person that I met na parang they also wanted to start a podcast and like they were there's so many concepts and they tried
Yeah.
recording so and I just told them if you get one out,
The rest will be
the
easy.
rest will be super easy.
Yeah.
Like even now, like this for me, which relates back to the point I finally remembered.
Ah.
This for me, like doing a podcast. Like if you knew me in high school, dude, I wasn't like this in high
Yeah.
school. Like as much as personal growth I had in like college, like this me being in front of a camera, me talking more, hindi naman sa more openly, but me being more comfortable in talking. I can lend it per se. I like doing presentations.
Yeah.
So I like if you need someone to present for your group project, let me do it. I
Volunteer.
like
Kaya
it.
na gagawa ng PowerPoint.
Like
Basta
yeah, dude,
present na
like
lang ako.
I said this with Trish. Like for me and Trish, because Trish and I we were always classmates in college, and
Okay. Sick.
we used to be group mates a lot, and or if we were partners, um, I told Trish, I'll type all the shit in one document. You just make it
Make it
like
pretty.
make it pretty and make it sound better. Like I
Yeah.
don't really mind doing all the hard work. Like she does her part in the
Yeah.
man. Like but like please just check for because I hate writing. I'm more
Yeah.
of I'd rather present and talk.
Yeah.
And
Research stats. Like,
yeah, and I'd
yeah.
rather research, do the physical work. And what do you call this? Recently, around fourth or fifth year, and that's when I got more confident in presentation because it really hammers in the point na when your profs tell you na you're the only person in the room who knows what you're talking about. So if you put that in your mindset, if you know what you're talking about, especially for a certain topic, I mean, sometimes of course your professor's gonna know more about what you're talking about, but like if you're talking to your all your classmates and stuff like that, and you're the only person, if you're not bullshitting kung tamad ka, pero don't be tamad people, but parang hindi ako tamad pero like if you're group presenting and talking, like, and if you've done your research, at least even just a little bit research
Yeah.
about your topic, and you're 100%, you're the only person in that room who knows what you're talking about. So they can't really contradict you
Yeah.
with different, aside from your professor sometimes. But like, if you're talking about something or if you're presenting about something, you have, it's just more of that self confidence. So I got that self confidence, but it just came actually in the pandemic. Me being more talkative in front of a camera because I hated the camera. Like if you see my pictures on Instagram or if you see me in parties, I don't ask people for photos.
Yeah.
I'm not really there. I'm just usually in the group shot.
Yeah.
Even in high school, like I usually just talk. And when I used to talk about shit, it was just random shit like
Yeah.
Coldplay. Coldplay, fucking the Knicks. We'll get to the
Yeah.
Knicks one later. But like it was just really recently na parang I got to be more open to the camera and stuff like that just because of the podcast. And it's you just really have to take that step, eh.
Yeah.
That first step into doing what you
Yeah,
like.
because naturally nobody's gonna be like perfectly confident or like relaxed the first time they film themselves in the camera.
Oh
Like
yeah.
even me, like even though like I would take like a couple of pictures here and there, I was never really like as comfortable until I started the podcast. It's definitely out of your comfort zone kasi.
Yeah.
But like going back, I guess to where we even started this whole thing about just starting, like I think it's important to get that first one out because like that's like the whole process of the content creating, like like worrying about the gear that you're using, the editing software, the process. Those are all things to lubricate the wheel, but it's not the wheel. The
Yeah.
wheel is
It's like
creating the content and posting
yeah.
it.
It's like those
Diba?
things come after and like you
Yeah.
once you start you'd get better stuff. Like
Yeah.
if okay, it's not a fairy tale that if you do start it'll turn out well, right? But like
Yeah.
um if you work hard for it and then if you have maybe some income if you're working another job or something or if you want to make this your job it will come after in it like the better equipment and stuff like that it just depends on the standard of the quality you want like for
Yeah.
me like I'm fine with like this it's not the best but like for me right now my problem is the audio and I want that for the viewers rin naman
Yeah.
for the audience it's more for them but like I'm not gonna go out and buy some Bose mic na not shitting on people are there Bose mics
No, mostly Shure. Shure mics are like the
sure mics
yeah.
but like I'm not saying those mics are really good and I
Yeah.
want one but
Yeah.
like it's not like you need one
Yeah,
at the
dude. You can
start.
literally just start from your phone,
Dude, go like
honestly.
mauno 2K lang to sa Lazada,
Exactly. Or
man.
like not even like if you really just want to start a vlog or start a podcast, you
Oh
can use
yeah.
your smartphone, dude.
Oh,
You
that's
have voice
especially
recorder,
now.
you have a camera there.
Smartphones with their
It's like
camera,
you can
yeah.
like literally it takes
You started.
nothing
That
to
takes
start.
nothing.
I mean, of course all of these things are nice and but I that's the thing that I also know. I know so many people that have like unposted podcasts that they made, but then they were like, it's
Yeah.
not ready yet. We don't have the perfect gear yet. Parang I'm not as good of a dude. Screw it,
Who
man. Nobody really
cares?
gives a shit naman about your first podcast.
Like
Like
if I look back and let's say if I do, I will. I'm going to try to get to 10 episodes
you
of
will.
posting on
Yeah,
YouTube.
yeah,
But
yeah.
like it's nice and kasi you can see okay, fine. The first episode audio was shit. Shit, kind of shit. But it's not bad as the second. I'm really sorry, but it's so bad. Um, but like if I get to the 10th episode and I've improved,
Yeah.
even with the gear I have
Yeah.
now, like dude, that's fine. Like,
dude.
you'd see, even if you start growing your audience, that's the thing I wanted. Like, even though it's not gonna be a big audience, but like just a small audience, they'll see the growth of what they've invested their time into
Yeah,
rin eh. So parang yeah, for people who want to get started. I mean, it's not what we really want started to talk about, but like if for people who want to get started on like a project or something, just get it out there. Unless, it's like some gig that they're paying, yeah, try your super hardest best.
yeah, yeah,
But like if it's like such a passion project, get it out there lang. Like it's scary at first and you have to invest some time and money in it. And there might not be an ROI, but like down the line with the things that you can work with and things that you can make better, you can find solutions.
yeah,
Like you don't need the best things right away. And it also calls back to like that sports thing, like the biking, the golfing and stuff like that. Like you don't need the best gear. Like the gear just supplements what you have already and the ability you have already.
yeah,
Like as long as I think again, the point that we hammered home before is as long as you're enjoying yourself.
yeah.
Like as long as you enjoy it and it's still part of what you initially
Yeah, like what's the
started out.
purpose? Like
Yeah, that
why are
purpose.
you starting? Like is
Yeah.
it for to have fun and stuff like that? Then just start. Like there's no point in like researching what the best gear is, what's the best format do, all of
Mm-hmm.
that stuff because then you just get analysis paralysis by analysis, you know what I'm saying?
Oh
Like you're
shit!
just
I've this first time I've heard of that.
oh really?
Paralysis by
Yeah.
analysis.
Yeah,
All right.
paralysis by analysis. It's a real thing. It's like just searching like what's the best way to do this, what's the best keyboard in the market,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
like
yeah.
what's the best like format for podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Like dude, just start, man. And
Yeah, and
like
it'll develop.
cuz okay, like let I mean it's different when when you started already and then you take breaks to research, ah. Like these are
Yeah,
two
yeah, yeah.
different
It's
things.
100%
But
different.
like if you haven't started yet and then you're just researching and researching, then if you're researching for like 2 months, then you're exactly where you were before.
Nothing. You
Yeah,
just
voila, you have nothing to
nothing
show for
happened.
it, and you're gonna make mistakes. But what's important is to like grow for it. So
Again,
yeah,
people make mistakes, and that's the best way to learn.
yeah,
Actually, that's
you
like
live and you learn, bro.
the first time I did the podcast, yeah, like the first episode, and dami kong mistakes. Like, I think it was with Justin and his girlfriend Erica. We were speaking, and then the screen was. I was like, oh fuck, that's so embarrassing. But like, now that's no problem because we're live,
Yeah,
baby. But like,
baby.
again, back to the point that I still haven't gotten to is that, uh, recently lang talaga, parang, what if I just took social anthropology, no? Like,
Like a
fuck.
masters.
No, or like in college. Like, as much
Oh
as I love biology, as
yeah,
much as I love ecology, I still love it naman. Like, the way that I think of Filipino culture kasi, like, the way I think about the world's culture, and as much as I love history, parang, and philosophy now, it's such a nerdy thing, and it's such a deep thing to talk about kasi it's so hard to really relate it to people.
but then there are people that like
Yeah, there are
look for
people,
that shit.
yeah,
Diba?
diba? But like, it's not for
Everyday listening.
it's not for everyday
Yeah.
listening. It's not for your general conversation also. But like, yun nga, like that's basically the essence of the podcast rin na. It's really deep into the Filipino culture. And for me, I really want to expound on it. And I really like thinking about, again, it sounds super deep. Like basically what is life? Like of course we don't have the answer to what life is, but
Yeah.
like it's different for everybody. And for me, even connecting it scientifically because I started taking astrology,
Mm.
astronomy,
Astro-
astrology. Huh?
which astrology is like yung mga signs.
Yeah,
Astronomy
you
is
forget
the
astronomy.
is
Yeah,
like the space and shit.
yeah, astronomy. Fuck, why do I keep saying astrology? Astronomy. I took a basic course.
Taurus baby.
Sagittarius, baby. But like astronomy and like man, just scientifically and like philosophically, dude, space. It's fucked up, bro.
Yeah,
It's
there's a
like
lot going on.
it seems unreal. Basically, for me, it seems unreal because as much as space is there, its concept, its eternity, it seems unreal. But like scientifically, it makes sense. But yun nga, it's just for me, parang you get to realize. I think it's also maturity. You get to realize that you like different things. That's why for me also like I get to a lot in the podcast. I ask a lot of people's favorite shows and stuff. We'll get to that also naman. But favorite shows, movies, and I spoke about this also in the previous episode na parang I want to make like a review channel for like shows and TV stuff. But again, I'm not the type of person. I'm just gonna ramble. Alam mo yung when you post a video,
Yeah.
you listen to it and it's like it's structured. Like
Yeah,
for
there
me,
needs
yeah,
to be struck.
I
Yeah.
want to watch a video. If it's a review, I want it to be structured. So like if I did that, it's just gonna be me rambling about
Yeah.
shit. So I was like, it's not for me.
Yeah, right.
But like, yun nga, it comes with maturity na parang you get to know yourself more and see other things na you like rin. Na for the younger generation kasi parang it's hard rin kasi for them, they grew up in social media basically. And as much as fucked it is, like social media is fucked. Like the expectations that the younger generation put themselves for social media, like how much they have to be caught up in it and like how much they have to be on it, especially now with TikTok, diba? Like so many people on TikTok, like just trying to not just trying to get views, but like of course to make funny videos and stuff like that. But like there's this stigma na if you're not on the trend, you're not on the trend. No, I mean it's happened on Instagram also and like Snapchat, but like it's very prevalent now, especially with that short form media content
Yeah.
na you said, diba?
Yeah, well, I think it's I mean, primarily because like the algorithms of social media is like scientifically designed. I mean, like people invest
Crazy.
billions of dollars to
Crazy.
keep you on it, right?
It's
So
crazy.
it's like, in fairness, it's like it
Dude,
scientifically really reels you in.
props to
And
those people who made those
dude, yeah,
algorithms.
man, galing, galing. Those
Smart as
coders,
fuck,
they know what's
dude.
up. But I mean, to your point about like how younger generations end up like getting self validation from like social
Yeah.
media, because like that's what, like especially Instagram and stuff like that, it's like a curated part of your life. So you, the good part about social media is it connects you to all people from all around the world, all different types of people.
Yes. Yes, yes,
But
yes.
like one of the negatives to that is that you end up comparing yourself to them, diba?
Mm-hmm.
And you start to believe that since they get millions of likes, that they're living a happier and wealthier life than you.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And instantly, like I mean, subconsciously, it kind of like, relates to your self validation. Like, if I only get 10 likes, is that all I'm worth? Is that all the
Yep,
only people
yep,
that
yep,
like
yep, yep.
find me as friends? But I think that's only just an underlying issue of like, and I guess self awareness. And
Yeah.
that kind of goes back to your point of maturing. I think when you mature, because naturally you tend to get more self awareness. Like, who are you?
Yes,
What do you
definitely
enjoy?
true.
What makes you happy? And then that kind of like can detach you from the problem of comparing yourself to others with social
Mm-hmm.
media and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. But I mean, not everybody has it, and I think
Yes.
especially as a, that's why you might have referred to like younger generations, because when you're a teen, that's when you're trying to figure out like
Yep.
who you are, right? Like you don't know, you don't even know what like, like there's some people that are lucky that know what course to take now in
Yeah.
college, but a lot of us don't, man.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people that go to college, like after they graduate, they enter a completely different field,
Different field.
because like you don't really know who you are yet in your
Yep.
truest sense, right?
That's why I think it's very important. And because I work with in the NGO I work with well, last year they were freshmen in college and they were it's very eye opening because yun nga, they work with our NGO, which is an environmental friendly NGO, Sangkalikasan by the way,
Plug.
and they they they're from different courses. Basically, they're not scientific courses. And for me, kasi that was always a problem in my org in Ateneo, was that how could we not just make this our home org for bio and life sci people, but how can we relate to other people who in our generation are more environmentally conscious, but like there's always the question, how can we help, like without knowing all the sciencey stuff, right?
Mm.
So in my org it was a problem of how it's not really a problem, but like we wanted to make it a point in how can we get members um that are who want to help out with, especially in our projects, who want to help out in our projects or be part of the projects that we have, but who can't really dedicate the time of learning all that stuff. And so yun nga, I was working with that younger generation nga, who are all from different courses, and they're coming into this very very scientific NGO
Right.
that's worked very hard on the science. And for me, I'm having a hard time. And I think naman for any scientist out there, it's very hard to relate science to the common people, right? That's
Right.
why there's been a shift, especially in our generation and to the younger generations, to more of scientific communication. Like, how can we make this content relatable? Which is I've been working on. Well, was working on because we have no project right now. But like, um, how can we make, especially now, social media content? How can we make the scientific content relatable to the masses, especially the Filipino masses
Yeah.
who don't really view science, like deeper science, like very, how do I put it? Like there's a basic understanding of basic science, like that's
Well,
what
I
we.
wouldn't just categorize it to Filipinos. I think the general,
Oh
like,
yeah,
in general,
in
like, if you're
general,
not really of the scientific background, then you won't really understand, like, much about it.
that's
But
true. Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
wouldn't categorize it, like, just for Filipinos. Because, I mean, when I entered vet school, like, there are a lot of people that are into the sciences and, like, that
Yeah.
understand it, like, way better than me and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that, um, you guys as an NGO, and that's why I can say this, because we're kind of trying to do the same thing, is just to make things easier digestible
Yep.
for people
Yep.
so that they
Yep.
can relate. Because again, I always say this: you can't care for something that you don't know about, right?
Yes.
So what's the way to get people into it? Like, because like when I first started in For the Future and started creating the animal content, I was just going info overload, like parang, because that's the shit that
Yeah. That's what I
interested me,
learned also.
diba?
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, the the bird has like a europygeal gland
Oh my
that
god. Yeah.
secretes like oily wax that actually keeps their feathers, hydrophobic.
Yeah.
But that's like
I
so much,
mean,
right? Like if you just,
hydrophobic alone gets you like, huh?
yeah,
But
diba?
I actually learned that rin na parang, kasi if you're trained in the sciences, you have to present information in a way that it has to be 100% factual to the source you're also
Yeah,
getting, because you don't want to also discredit the source that you're getting it from. So, and you also want to display so much information, but that information has information on top of that that more people have to understand. So parang, like I was in the same boat as you. Like when we were first doing our first posts for Instagram, parang I had this document that had like just all information
like
about
stats,
corals.
yeah,
Like,
and like
oh, so
scientific
corals are made out
terms.
of calcium bicarbonate and
Yeah,
blah blah blah, and they have little polyps
yeah,
inside. And then of course for them who were helping me, it was like, what the fuck is calcium bicarbonate? It
right.
seems too much. What is this living animal? So I was like, okay, I understand where you're getting this from. I understand what the point you're saying, but also this is also important
Yeah,
information. So we were like, okay, how do we merge these two? Like, how
yeah,
can we get this information to this very heavy information to make it more digestible? So I started to realize nga parang, like what you said, the to make it more digestible, like I realized that you don't really have to present everything all at once.
yeah,
Like I think the way that you can present science is that, one, first make it relatable, because I think that's what's most important, especially here in the Philippines, especially with the amount of beaches we have, the amount of how important
right.
marine life is. You have to make it relatable so that people can understand it in their day-to-day lives.
Yeah,
So you have to make some analogies and stuff like that. And then just give them bits and pieces, and then it just has to be consistent. Like it just has to be a lot,
yeah,
which is the tiring thing for NGOs, because one, NGOs don't really, again, non-profit, so they don't really profit
yeah,
out of all of this, and we don't get really enough money, as long as maybe if you have a backing or like sponsors from the government. But yeah, NGOs don't get a lot of money. But if you want to make your NGO successful rin kasi, or if you want to get, especially now, that reach, you have to be consistent. You have to post a lot, and
yeah,
it takes a lot of time for
yeah.
the volunteers and the
And
people
like
working
for
on
me,
it.
the one of the things I learned as like my experience so far. I mean, I'm like what, a year and a half in an
Mm-hmm.
NGO, so it's like it's still entry. But one of the things that I realized also from research and like absorbing content from like NGOs that made it, you also need to, what do you call that? Identify and establish your goal. Ano ba talaga ang goal mo, 'di ba?
Yeah.
Is your goal to advance the scientific community? Then if
Mm-hmm.
that's the case, then your NGO should be like more geared towards like scientists already, so that you could like publish papers about to the scientific community and advance people, advance knowledge. But if your goal naman is to inspire more people to care about these things, to get them motivated to donate and support these ecosystems, whether it be the marine ecosystems or even the the the, the
Forest.
forests or
Yeah.
whatever the communities, the indigenous communities, then you need to make content in a way that's digestible for people to start getting interested in
Yeah.
it. Because
For sure.
like if you think about it, how did you like get interested in like oceanic life, diba? It's like you were watching Nat Geo, and Nat Geo was able to present it in such a way that as a kid or Animal Planet,
So
as a kid, diba, na you were interested in it because they made it easily digestible, but enough scientific to keep you curious to learn
yeah,
more
that's
about it.
true.
But you have to start there. Like for me, it was like Steve Irwin, diba, that got me like into animals and stuff. And then I started thinking like, why was I into animals? It's because he made it like fun, relatable,
Yeah.
made it engaging, and that's something that you need. Like if your goal is to attract more people to get into this specific field or specific like working with an NGO and supporting this, then you have to make it easily digestible. So even for like the college kids that were like interning with you, the freshman kids, it's like for them at that stage they were still experimenting. Eh.
Yeah.
They weren't sure because of what they
Yeah.
wanted, pa. Like they were interested in it, but not sure if this is the like perfect field for me. So I think you have to treat it with that mindset also that your goal is them also. So that's why in for the future our motto is really action fueled by stories, because if you think about it, none of us are really professionals, man.
Yes.
Like none of us like are have like a PhD in like
Mm-hmm.
ecology
Mm-hmm.
or anthropology, diba? Like parang none of us are specialists at this, but then what we do have is the reach and the engagement of our audience, and we grew that by making things more accessible, one by creating consistent content on
Yeah.
like the topics that we find valuable, and number two, making it digestible, diba?
Mm-hmm.
Make it relatable. Try not to put too much info into it, just enough to keep them engaged, but curious to learn more about it. And if that's the goal of just trying to increase your reach so that you can affect as many people in the large scale, then it needs to be digestible talaga.
Yeah. And I think because for the people, if Brian, if you're ever gonna watch this, um, it's not naman that they didn't know. It's just they really were passionate about doing the environmental stuff because they also have an org, in their school, but it was just more of that barrier of communication in it because it kind of didn't help that they didn't know what they were talking about at first because again science is very because you have to balance also your credibility because that's what I also learned we also learned recently as a team na parang we have the resident marine biologist for San Kalikasan and she wrote two articles on two different projects, one for the Dumaguete reclamation and the one for the Davao. So it's just basically her experience of what she saw on their ocular. So it was one for the Davao. It was more of a light-hearted, like a personal blog. But for the Dumaguete one, with so much science in play of the reclamation, how it impacts, and then how it impacts not just one coral reef, but like the surrounding areas. So it also had to be scientific. So we were back in that standpoint again. Of course, we still have to maintain that credibility of being an NGO that's done research and stuff like that. So yeah, just back to the point, we also as a team had to find this middle ground, which we have actually found, kinda, where one we just put all the info, okay, all the info that's relevant to a certain topic, and then we go through it. They go through it and see what they can get out from it. Then we meet, and then we see where we can meet in the middle and see what we can take out, what we can add, and what's more important. And then we just put it in digestible. And then bahala na who sino gumagawa ng
Yeah,
formats,
yeah,
man.
yeah. Tama yan, tama yan.
But yeah,
Because like I think it is like important to make sure that you're credible, that you have the credible sources, that you don't twist around the words that is in the references, diba? Like just so that there's accountability. But at the same time, it's like you can't leave out the important scientific facts because
yeah.
those are the facts, and what supports your I guess your motive of each post. It's the facts, diba?
Yes.
Because that's your um evidence or proof that these changes are occurring, and these are what will happen based off scientific statistics.
Yes.
But I mean that's what comes with it. I mean, when you enter this field, that's like just something that you have to do. Like
Yeah,
for me
true,
in vet
true.
school, like definitely not playing with like puppies and kittens all day, and
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
just like looking at the dog and being like when you tap it here, it's like not anything like that, dude. Like we're mainly looking at like chemicals most of the time and scientific words.
Yeah,
But the reality is, if you're gonna get into that industry, you have to
you
know that.
have to
You
know
have
that.
to know that.
Yeah.
Tsaka naman, like after na lang is when you can start like relaying that type of information. And again, it's important to define what your goals are, diba?
Yeah, that's why it's it kind of sucks because not knowing you. Sorry, my mind's going two places again. But it kind of sucks because I had a class during the last time of my pandemic, during the last time of college during the pandemic when pandemic hit. It was called Issues in Science Communication, which was really really good. It was such a. It's taught by a former mall gen professor in UP. But she's also a professor in Ateneo. So she has the credibility of a scientist and the credibility of a
That's
major.
cool.
So, um, yun nga, it was just very interesting because again, it's not like I should have. Now that I think of, I should have minored in comm now. But that's besides the point now. But like thinking it in a communications aspects, like I probably if comm majors are listening to this, like probably learn some stuff from like even looking at a different course, like it's so different from biology, learning biology in college. So like looking at like how do we tackle issues or presenting issues in science in a calm aspect, like knowing your target audience, what works, like knowing like having mood boards and stuff like that. It's like wow, like it's like a whole different science to it, isn't it? So like
Definitely.
it's like for people who do like marketing, like good on you. Like I don't know how that works, but like good on you. Like it's such a complex issue and like that science communication. So
Yeah, because it's somehow concrete naman kasi also. And for me, like in like whatever field it is, that's why I also one of the reasons why I wanted to start the podcast is just to improve storytelling in general,
mm,
because I feel like that's a skill that can be applied to all aspects in life,
true.
whether you're in the scientific community like me, or like us rather,
Mm-hmm.
or like you're in the business. Like I mean, like for us when we're creating content for like the NGO, just for example, that's storytelling,
Yeah.
right? How to
Yeah.
keep your
Yeah.
how to hook your audience first of all, how to keep them engaged, and how to like kind of encompass it all together so that it like sticks,
Yeah.
diba, in their brain. And if you look at it from like a business standpoint, it's like, okay, how can I sell to my client like my business, or like when you're in a negotiation, how can I craft a story in such a way to kind of persuade the other person to whatever your intention might be. So that's why I think like that's one of the big best skills that I got from like creating a content in
That's true.
general.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just working on the storytelling, because for the longest time I've always been like major sciencey guy, major X's and O's, not math, God,
True.
not math.
I am
But
same. Not
but
math.
like generally speaking, like I like seeing data and evidence to support like
Same.
certain
Same. Same.
causes.
Same.
But like if you're talking about like relating it to the general public, getting people engaged and stuff like that, and even teaching, like that's one of my biggest um like pet peeves with teachers sometimes, like when they just go straight like this is this, this is that, this is that, and there's no like like encompassing, like it's too
Yeah.
structural.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like let's just go. I mean, there's some subjects that you just have to,
Yeah.
right? Especially with the sciences, it's like
Yeah.
this is this because you use this formula, diba?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
this is because this is life.
Yeah.
But then for me, like the good teachers are the ones that can kind of like incorporate it into like practical use or daily life
Yeah.
so that it sticks, like diba, like why is this information useful to me,
Yeah.
and
There's
like
reason to why you're learning it.
diba. And unfortunately sometimes, like especially with the old school type of teaching, it's like they'll go through like the fundamentals, the terminologies, how they all interrelate, and then at the very end they'll be like, oh by the way, this is like after looking at these organic structures, you're like, oh by the way, this is like a detergent, and that's why you could use it in the whole in like in your home. It's actually like hydrophilic and all that stuff. So it's like at the end it's like, oh, so that's all we got from it, diba? But imagine if like they could like kind of like incorporate it
Yeah.
to a little bit more, diba?
That's why I like most of my profs in. Thank God I got solid profs in that in the bio department. But buti na lang, most of them. did their testing. So I liked essays better. Like even though those essays were harder, it felt like it had more use because I could incorporate different, let's say, lessons to each other, and then you get to see its importance.
Yeah.
That's why for me, multiple choice is not the way for college. Like, okay, I understand sometimes multiple choice
Sometimes you have
works, you
to.
have
You
to,
have
but
to.
like
Yeah.
for like big exams and stuff like that. For me personally, even though I suck at writing, I like, or that's why I like presentation exams more, or if like presentations are like bigger percentage wise, because for me I'd rather have that. But like I like it when profs really give you that encompassing questions in exams
Yeah.
or even in quizzes nga eh.
Because it's honestly part of the learning process. Because I
Mm.
also how
Mm.
you interrelate these things together, and that's one of the things that I learned, especially now as a vet student. Because right now I'm like super invested in vet school.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like you're working a full time job in terms of hours that you're putting into it, and I just want to be like the best student that I can possibly be. So trying to look for different like study techniques and different ways of learning, like trying to learn from other people online. YouTube is like a godsend for me, like for
Love
learning
YouTube.
like ways to study, and like they're just two fundamental, what I learned is there are two fundamental pillars to learning kasi it's the input and the output. So the input is everything from memorizing, like because you can't get around it. You have to memorize some terms, especially like in med
Oh
school.
yeah, of course.
You have to memorize some terms. You have to memorize some descriptions of terms and where it is. And then the second part is the output. So that's the answering it on the test, diba? So it's input and output. But the two pillars to the learning process is memorizing it, number one, and then the one of the most important is like understanding.
Yeah.
And that's where the essays and the interrelating no, when the interrelation
Yeah.
starts to be applicable,
Yeah.
because like why are you studying this nga pala?
Yeah.
And that's something that I always need to remind myself, because like I was more of a memorizing guy. Like, okay, this is that, this is that, this is related to this. But then, like, what's the overarching thing? Like, how can you connect these topics
Yeah.
together, diba? And that goes into the learning process also. And that's something that I'm still struggling with. Like, not gonna lie, because like there's just not enough time in the day to do all of it. Because there's so many terms that you need to memorize,
Yeah,
and
dude.
I think that's like one of the most important. But it's like how can you interrelate it to the other like concepts, and that's like a super key foundational piece to kind of like learning the information so that you can output it properly.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's also different. Like if you input, like memorize everything,
Yeah.
but how do you put it
Without
out,
yeah,
diba?
yeah.
And like if they throw, that's like when they throw you a curveball, how are you gonna like adjust and stuff. But yeah, just trying to learn how to study better, because school is a grind, my
It's
guy.
a grind.
And I was telling Chowky earlier, I end on like next Thursday pa, so it's the 23rd, like 2 days before Christmas.
Yeah.
And like from now until then, I have like literally 6 exams next week.
Everybody thank him that he's on our
Next week.
episode today.
Y'all better be thankful, y'all. But
But
no, like you need
anyone
these times,
listening
yeah.
though, like even for the younger generation, like even in college, if you're really undecided, it's fine. Like even I realized it lang talaga, like from maturity again. It's fine if you have a panic attack and wow shit, nothing's going your way, or if you don't know what you're doing. Like in time through college you'll find your way, and then even after college you'll find you're even working. And it applies that input output thing. It applies even to working, because if you just keep for work, like if you just keep doing your work, and hindi naman not say enjoying it, but you don't see the point of why you're doing your work. Parang, you start to get disheartened, and you start to get
Yeah.
lazy about it. Like, it's really important.
Yeah. Not to get like a little bit what's the word, activist about it, but like for me it's the system kasi talaga that's flawed, because I
Yeah.
mean technically the way that the world works right now, it still has a lot of remnants of the industrial age.
Yeah,
So it's
for
like when
sure.
you reach 18 or 21, you're classified as an adult. You go to college, and then before you even go to college, you're supposed to know already what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, for sure.
And then like you enter college, you take the course for your field, and when you graduate, you enter the field and you work your butt off until you're 60, and then you retire and then travel the world. But for me, that whole system is like kind of flawed, because like you're not expected to know what you want to do
Yeah.
by 18 or 21. I mean, good for you if you do. If you found your passion earlier, you found like meaning and purpose to your life early on. But a lot of people don't, man. A
Yes.
lot of people don't. And like this concept or this notion of like you're supposed to have it all figured out by like you're when you're 21 or 18. Some people graduate like 23, 22.
Yeah.
It's like and you're supposed to have life figured out already and like be successful kagad. It's not like that talaga in
It's
real
not
life.
like that.
So it's like learning and growing is like a never ending
It's never
process
ending
and
process.
it's never going to be systematical. Some people it might work picture perfect and might align with like the that industrial model of graduating 22, working your butt off in your 20s while you're enjoying, like settling down in
Yeah.
30 and then having a kid and working and then being financially free by 60 and then you can travel the world and retire. That's like a general model, but it's not like
Actually, it's
that
not even wala na yan eh. Like that mindset is going away. Like
because
it's
times are
as much
changing.
as if you want to work, go work, but like the way that I think for our generation and the future generations, the way that our parents have grinded. I love you. I love our parents. Go our parents. Like super thankful, but like the way that they've grinded and gone through that sort of system, nga, it's given most or not most, but it's given children or our generation more leeway
Yeah.
basically to explore and
And
in
again,
general
connected
explore.
again, this is a privilege also.
Yeah.
Like that we have this like opportunity to explore these different like
Yeah, and again, not to be, we're not gonna be activist about it, but like it's the system that's still stuck here in the Philippines that still needs to change because the life that most Filipinos could imagine, like it's reachable and attainable if the system could be
right,
fixed, right?
right. But it's flawed.
And it's very, very flawed, and that's one thing that again I wish more Filipinos could have access to because the culture is so deep into Western culture. Again, it's all relating. All our conversations.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's all relating. Wow, how did
It's
we
all
do this? It's holy fuck. How did we do this?
connected.
But like from all the conversations we were having a while ago, like now even just that culture deeply ingrained in the Filipino culture, like again back to the life of Instagram, social media, like there's so many people, Filipino people, who want to live that life but can't, but try to live that life. Parang you shouldn't because I don't want to say you shouldn't, but like if it's out of your reach, like I it sounds bad, but I'm trying to put it in a way na it's not the way that people are thinking about it. Like what I mean is like people are trying to overreach from what they can reach. Guess what? Which is like if you want to live that life, go ahead. But there are certain aspects that have been influenced by social media
Yeah,
that
definitely.
unexpected not unexpected, that unreal
Yeah.
reality
It's
that people,
fabricated.
the
Yeah.
fabricated
Yeah.
reality that social media has created that people are trying to attain, which you shouldn't because
Yeah.
again that's not what
And
reality
yeah,
is.
like connecting it all back to our topics. It's really self-awareness
It's
talaga.
really
Like, dude, we're not living in the US. We're not in a first world country, so don't expect to do the same things
yes.
as like what they're doing. And then if you don't have like the economic background to do it, like what's the point in trying to live a life that is not sustainable for you? And at the same time, it's like that's why it's really self-awareness because it's like are you actually doing this because you enjoy it?
Yes.
Do you love sneakers? Do you love food? That's why you like always like posting about it and stuff like that. Like it's like you need to find out what you know who you are and what your actual interests are, and that's why like I was saying it's really all comes down to self-awareness because that's something that it never stops. Like you constantly change over time, and knowing yourself is like a lifelong journey, like just trying to find out who you are and like what you're into, and you're not really expected to know that by the time you graduate high school,
Yeah.
let alone college, let alone high school.
Yeah. And it just goes back to the point again. Oh, we have connected everything. This is so cool. I'm not shitting you, anyone who's listening. We don't have an outline topic.
Yeah, we're literally
But
just like bullshitting right now.
again it's just back to that privilege status because I know this all of this is coming from a privilege point. Now we get to talk about this because of course we are living in a life now we get to enjoy the things we want to do, and most Filipinos again don't have that opportunity, and which is the point that we're talking about now. We wish and we're trying to help people understand nga na, um the system has to change basically, and people can't a lot of Filipinos have to realize that social media has really fabricated the reality that um of that Western culture and stuff like that, that influencer life and stuff like that. And again, from what we've spoken about, is that really, if you have something passionate about, and if you can afford it, and I know most Filipinos, struggle to enjoy things that they want to do because again, system. But if you can, don't try to fabricate a life for yourself. Just do what you really want. And again, if you're still young, go ahead. You'll learn this.
Yeah,
But
you need
like
to
this,
experiment while you're
it's
young.
just
Yeah.
more of a life lesson warning. Not more of a warning, but like some people. Even if I was young right now and I hear this, I'm like, what the fuck is this guy? No, you're just
Yeah.
old people. But like, you'll soon realize down the line once you start to mature na what you're feeling right now. That's fine. Like if you are someone young and you're feeling this, go ahead. But at the same time, if you want to have validation of you being somewhere in the middle or unsure of what you want to do, like um feel free to be unsure because it's just part of growing up, and you'll down the line mature enough to see that what you really want to do.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think it really it's a lifelong journey because like you're
Life is long.
yeah.
Bar any problems, life
Yeah,
is long.
yeah, you'll change over time, and I mean, I'm not saying like I have it all figured out. Also, like I know I want to be a vet, and that much is for sure. But I don't know what industry yet, 100%. Like I'm very interested in wildlife. I love like watching wildlife documentaries. They really just interest me, like like more than most things in this
You'll
world.
be the next David Attenborough,
Yeah,
except he's from the
yeah,
Philippines.
that would be goals, man. But at the same time, it's like I don't have as much experience with them as well.
Okay. I
Realistically,
mean,
I
again,
grew up in
experience
Makati.
comes naman from age, rin.
Yeah,
So
and from
like,
trying for like
yes,
starting and just exposing yourself to all of these things. So, like I don't know, I'm not super sure about if I want to do wildlife. Like baka naman, like I love like
you might
wildlife, and
find
then I'm
out.
there, I'm like, puta, scary pala. like,
You might fall
like,
in love
diba?
with just being like dog.
Yeah, I could be small animal practice person,
Yeah.
or like before I always had this notion like I knew I wanted to be a vet, but I never want to get into livestock. I never want to get into the industry of farm animals and stuff like that because it's like it's cruel, but it's like parang like I don't want to be working just to raise animals to be slaughtered and all of that stuff. But now that I'm in vet school, I'm starting to like have a deeper understanding
Why it's
of why
important.
it's important and why like because honestly it's like it's ingrained in our culture also like majority of Filipino food is like pork,
Yep.
diba? Pork, chicken, and we need stuff to feed the people
Yeah.
obviously. And I mean food security is another whole topic
It's another
for
topic.
concern, and like going veganism is also another
Yeah.
whole like philosophical and ethical conversation. But for as a veterinarian, it's like it's so important also to how do I make the animal's life the best possible way it is.
Before
So
they die.
before they die, before they're sacrificed for I mean it's for
Yeah,
human
yeah, yeah.
consumption, right? It's for
It's
it's
morbid, but it's real.
it's morbid, but it's real. You gotta accept the fact. I mean, the food that you eat, most probably, I mean, like majority of the Filipinos
100%.
like eat meat, like that came from a living thing,
Those
right?
chicken nuggets you're
Yeah,
eating,
dude.
those are from chicken. No,
Well,
no, no.
I don't know about that. Depends on
Yeah.
whether you where you get the chicken, right? But like try to make it like the best possible way. And like another thing is since like now I'm starting to get interested in livestock is because like how can I number one make the animal's life the best it could possibly be before it's used for as resource. Number two, how can I be um I guess how can I maximize that animal's life like by using all of the products that it used, diba?
Mm-hmm.
Every part of the chicken, how can I like use this for future things so that's no waste, diba? So like that animal didn't die in vain. And just that whole process of the livestock industry, and then that's where it comes into like sustainable farming. How can you use the manure as fertilizer for maybe different crops or different feeds? And the feeds industry is such huge industry pala, and like something that I never really knew
No,
about.
it's fascinating. Like the different. I don't know. We're all nerding out right now. Both of
Yeah,
us are nerding
sorry.
out, but like it's interesting to a point that there's a lot more going into certain industries than what we know about. Like what I can say about that can relate to your experience is that basically aquariums. Like I probably in college I hate aquarium. I mean, there's still a bad practice. Don't get me wrong, especially for large marine vertebrates, right? Especially for large animals. But like for the aquariums that do a lot of conservation or like rehabilitation work, but also on the side is also a tourist attraction. Like understand why, because one, it's so hypocritical of me because the way I love marine animals is because I used to go a lot
Exactly. And that's like the
of
same thing
marine.
connected to
Yeah,
zoos
diba?
also. It's like before I was really like zoos suck, close all the
Yeah,
zoos. But think about it. How did you start getting interested in it,
diba?
diba? You saw it on TV, you researched about it. When you saw it in real life, you're like, holy shit, this is cool, right? This is something that I
And then you
really want
start
to do,
maturing like, holy shit, this is kind of bad.
diba?
But then you also realize
Realize that how did it start? So it's like all about making things more ethical, right?
and better, yeah. And which
Ethical.
I think a lot of, especially in our generation, a lot of scientists, and also a lot of scientists right now, are leaning more towards to more ethical, more
I think
sustainable.
the scientists have well, depending on what
Hopefully.
like lab science, like that's a totally different thing. But like in scientists in general, when you talk about ecology, zoos, like the ones behind the science part of it, so veterinarians, like aquatic veterinarians, marine biologists, they always want what's best for the animal because they want like that's how they see it in the wild, and they want to project that as well. Without the ones that are in fault here are the business owners,
Yeah.
because how can we cut like maximize profit and cut costs,
But
diba?
then again, you also have to think na
You need that to be for it to be
you
sustainable.
diba? You have
It's a
to think about
balance. Yeah.
it's a balance, but
Yeah.
at the same time, of course, there are establishments that have bad practices. I
No,
mean,
like Manila Zoo, for example,
yeah,
it's terrible.
terrible. Also,
Yeah.
Manila, okay, Ocean Park, it's kind of shit
Yeah.
because it's kind of dirty. But I don't know now if they've improved, so I can't say
Yeah.
anything. But like the world renowned aquariums, like the one in Thailand, the one in Hong Kong's not the best example, but like most of them are there for rehabilitation and like
Yeah,
conservation,
diba? If
right?
you're doing
So
like good work, like
yeah,
Avalon Zoo, shout out to them.
Avalon
They actually have
Zoo.
a lab so that they work on like breeding and genetics so that they could kind of like breed more endangered species. So it kind of helps out the population in the grander scheme of things, and like just learning more about the animal so that we can preserve it in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like for me, even the pet trade, that one
Mm-hmm.
is like a kind of touchy subject because like some people believes that oh these reptiles belong in the wild, diba? Or
As
it's
long as
like
it's not extinct and endangered. Not
yeah.
extinct, sorry.
And
It's not
well,
endangered and
dude,
not
kung extinct
illegal.
solid, like I mean, like
Kung extinct yun, I
galing mo
mean,
naman.
pakisabi naman sa scientific community,
Ah,
hindi siya extinct.
kaya mo palang i-resurrect from the dead. But yeah, like there's so many touchy subjects
As long
about
as
like
it's not
without
legal,
like
I'm fine with it.
diba? As long as it's legal and it makes people more attached to animals,
Yeah.
diba? Like it makes you bond with an animal more and you start caring about it. So you start ending up like donating more to like
At the
wildlife
same time, it's
conservation.
weird owning an ostrich. I don't know if
Yeah.
you've seen that video.
Yeah,
I
the one
just
in
watched it.
LGV. Yeah, yeah, I've seen that.
That's fucked up. Like, why would you want to own an ostrich?
Man, a
So,
lot of people in the Philippines have fucked up shit, bro.
dude,
Like they have like
it's
pet
crazy. It's crazy.
pangolins, they have pet
See, those
Komodo
things.
dragons, pet Philippine eagles, and like I think generally, like our age is like getting a little bit more. I feel like that's a boomer thing, owning exotic
Mhm.
animals, talaga. But now it's like I think we're a little bit more woke, but I don't know. Might be just giving myself the benefit of the doubt.
But yeah, no, weird. It's weird. But oh fuck, it's almost up to 2. Wow, almost up to 2 hours. But
Yeah.
to
We
wrap
we
this
didn't
up,
even talk about
yeah,
Christmas.
see. To wrap this up, we'll make it a short segment because solid naman. But to wrap this up and to make it more of a at least have a Christmas aspect to it. Like one, my first question is plans. You don't have to go super in detail, but plans during the Christmas holidays or what were your usual plans? TV shows, or anything that you're looking forward to during this Christmas season. Actually, anything you look
Okay.
forward to this Christmas season.
Well, for plans, this is actually a pretty boring Christmas for
Yeah,
me.
aside from your exams.
Yeah, because I ended like the 23rd. Just
But like
the
anything after Christmas, you have
I
anything?
mean, like I'm probably gonna have a dinner thing with my family on the
Yeah.
25th, and then I'm gonna see like my grandparents on the
Mm.
26th, and then I'm probably gonna head to the beach maybe with like my girlfriend
Sarap.
and their family because they have a place there. Yeah, just for a couple of days, like to tally, just kind of unwind for a bit,
Yeah,
kind of,
of course you need that.
yeah, cause, uh, man, school ending on the 23rd, and I got 6 exams next week. It's like
Not fun.
that's like my motivation to finish.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's like pretty chill lang. Just gonna head to Tally and then head back here for New Year so I can spend it with my family and then back to back on my bullshit right after
Yeah.
that. But things that I'm looking forward to finishing Hawkeye. I
Are you
haven't
watching?
I
What
haven't been
episode?
updated. That's the thing.
Next episode, last episode's next week.
Oh shit.
It's only six
Yeah. I
episodes.
only watched the first 2 episodes because like yeah, I know I heard some
It's
really
not
really
a
good reviews.
spoiler, but apparently it's after Spider-Man. So I don't know if I should watch the season finale, but Spider-Man's like here out Jan 8th.
Yeah. I don't know nga.
Kind of shit.
Yeah, fucking like I hate it.
See, this is
It's
this is
just
what this is what I hate about the Marvel. They don't. Me and my cousin, we were talking about this, but they don't tell you when it is in the timeline. So right, Hawkeye came out
yeah.
before Spider-Man,
Yeah.
but I watched the first episode before Spider-Man comes out. So like, doesn't this just spoil me about the state of the universe?
Yeah, that's why it's kind
So
of
it's kind of fucked up.
yeah.
So like, hello, where is this? But
Well, because everywhere, like, I mean, the number one target audience is in the U.S. And in the
yeah,
U.S., it's like
it's
the
everything.
theaters are
Yeah,
back, so they're planning for them,
yeah,
not really for third world countries
that's
across
true.
the
I
Pacific
mean,
Ocean.
we were supposed to be having the same release date, but we
Yeah,
have the
do you
Manila
know
Film
why?
Festival. Every
Ah,
year, it's the Manila Film Festival.
fuck.
I'm not shitting on Filipino movies. Go
Yeah,
ahead, but like at least at least one cinema.
yeah, diba?
Come on. But like now we have to wait for Jan 8. I'm trying to avoid spoilers. But I haven't heard anything because again for Spider-Man, not to spoil anything, but I know a lot of people are expecting Toby, Andrew. Like it's a given. Like I want it to happen, but at the same time, I'm okay with it not happening because
Keeps you
if
on your toes. Yeah.
yeah, diba? Like if I'm not expecting it, if they come out, I'm like, fuck, that's pretty dope. Okay, okay, it's bound to happen. But if it didn't happen, and I mean, just having Doc Ock, Green Goblin,
Yeah.
in
That's
itself
that's
is
good enough.
enough already, right?
I'm actually very curious, like whether it was like when they lease out movies, like I'm curious how like it works. Like is it like like a Philippine like movie like association that like legalizes when they're gonna be filmed, when they're gonna be released? Because like I was thinking like baka naman like private theaters can show like the public ones are like have to show MMFF, but like what if like private shows can like show Spider-Man, but
I
then
think it's the board who releases movies here. Gets ba?
the board of the Philippines like
Yeah, like who approves movies here.
yeah.
Because you can't like the regulatory board, like you, diba, let's say from what I understand, let's say from the states, let's say if movies are rated based on their guidelines, it's R rated. But let's say maybe in Australia, maybe it's not, might be R rated for them. So there's this regulatory board who approves movies. I'm not if I might be wrong, but like from what I know, approves movies. So I guess it just goes into, oh, we'll release your movie after this period of time because we give this time for Filipino movies and Filipino culture, which is fine. Like, go ahead, but like, um, I think it's them who approves when these certain movies come out,
Yeah,
like
that
for
would make
all
sense
the
naman.
cinemas,
Yeah.
because it's kind of unfair, naman, for private cinemas to release a big movie, and then if a lot of people are just gonna keep booking that,
Yeah.
'di ba? Lugi naman those
Yeah.
people.
That's true.
So
Yeah, it makes sense. And unfortunately, it's like it's something that we just have to live with because like MMFF like need like I love actually that we have one week where it's just all Filipino movies, and unfortunately like the best time to have the film festival is really the break between Christmas and New Year
so let's
because
just
that's when
say,
everybody's in like vacation mode. So like
let's just let
the
Marvel
general
movies not release at that date,
yeah, let's
Like
tell ano,
Kevin
Feige na
Feige, 'di
lang.
ba?
Feige, ano, paurong na lang ng konti.
Medyo malaki rin naman yung market mo dito sa
Yeah,
Pilipinas,
malaki
'di
din yun.
ba?
Malaki din
So,
yun.
come on.
Yeah. Pero we're not like top five, I'd say.
Oh, hell
Yeah,
no,
no.
dude. But
So
like,
we're not a priority, unfortunately.
but for sure, like it's very important for that. I don't think it's a week, it's a month of Filipino movies. So it's fine. It's just come on.
Yeah, sad lang.
Usually Star Wars movies comes out this day too. So come on.
Yeah. Yeah, and Star Wars finds a way to like make
Yeah.
it to cinemas before. But wala eh.
Wala eh.
Yeah, it's already like Spider-Man's shown in
It's
the
just
US already, and I'm like trying to stay off YouTube as much as possible
it's just
because
malas
spoilers.
because actually no, it's weird because Endgame was a summer blockbuster, so that came out June.
It depends. Marvel doesn't always like consistently release in December.
Weirdly enough, just based on the reviews, like the number, not the spoiler reviews, but like people are labeling this the best superhero movie already.
Yeah. Wow,
So
better than Infinity War or Endgame.
Endgame. So like so for me, that just gets me hyped up. But
Yeah,
and
shit.
that's already
Pretty high
making me
bar.
expect
Yeah.
Toby and Andrew's gonna be there. But
Yeah.
for me, it's such a weird decision to not have it as a summer blockbuster. If you
I
think about it.
I think actually like I was actually thinking about that also. But
Is
parang when I was watching like some videos a couple of weeks back, the end of Spider-Man daw is on winter kasi Christmas. And
no way. So
yeah,
that just lines up with Hawkeye because Hawkeye's a Christmas
exactly,
movie.
exactly. So I think that's the reason why they're kind of showing it on Christmas and sabay.
Honestly, Hawkeye's such a cute Christmas series. I'm not kidding. Even
Yeah,
the first
can't wait
episode,
to
it's such
binge
a
it like probably on the 24th.
dude,
Cause like
Jeremy Renner. I love the guy.
cause it's like an hour per episode, right?
Yeah, it's like
So I'll probably watch like the last cause I
I don't
own
know. Like just
yeah.
finish all the
Yeah.
episodes
Yeah.
because it's good. It's like a good intermediate show. It's not like Loki na
Very complex.
so
Yeah.
complex or
Yeah,
like
very
WandaVision or like
yeah.
it's just
Good vibes
it's
down.
very
Also.
personal to his story.
Yeah.
And Haley Steinfeld, she's kind of big right now
Yeah, she
with
is. She's blowing up.
Hawkeye. And I don't know if you watched Arcane,
No, I
which is
haven't seen
the
that.
League of Legends. I'm not a big League of Legends fan, but like it's a pretty good animated show.
Okay.
Pretty good. And then she's in another show.
I think wasn't she the voice of like Gwen Stacy in
There,
Into the
yeah.
Spider-Verse? Yeah.
Again, that's coming
Yeah.
out next year pa.
Yeah.
So
That should be
that's
exciting
hype.
also.
That's hype.
Yeah, Marvel's been doing very, very well.
Very well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess for me that's also the thing that's what I'm expecting. Same as you. Christmas with the family. Again, it's still iffy because cases might be going up again. Hopefully not, but with Mr. Omicron coming about, 2 cases na. Just remind everyone, get vaccinated, stay safe,
Yeah.
all that. I
Try
mean,
try to keep
enjoy
your circle as small as much as possible.
small as possible.
Yeah.
Like, make
Like
sure
you
the
can see
people you're
friends, yeah, but
make sure the people you're hanging out with, are also safe as you. Like,
yeah.
and at the same level. Like,
Yeah.
don't hang out with random people. That,
Yeah, who like out talaga. I mean, if it also depends like
I mean, if you want to meet new people, go ahead. But like,
it also depends on like
please.
the lifestyle that you're living because like I mean there's some people that their entire family's vaccinated, they're all young naman, nobody's really immunocompromised, and if you're working, you're making money, and your parents are chill with you going out to drink, then go for it,
Yeah.
dude, go for it. If you guys also like aren't really scared of like or like the hospital bills or like medical healthcare is like issues is not a problem, then by all means. But like there's also some people who say that like you live with your grandparents or if you see your grandparents and or like if you have staff household help that's
Mm-hmm.
like unvaccinated or somebody in your family that's immunocompromised, then you need to be a little bit more conscious about it because like although you per se might survive it, like the people
Yes,
that
the
you are
people around.
exposed to on a normal basis, you have to think about them also.
I think that's the one I don't understand why anti-vaxxers are a thing. But I think that's the primary point of getting vaccinated
Definitely.
is for taking care of people around you more than yourself. Especially for the people who can't or who aren't privileged or who don't have the opportunity to get vaccinated or who can't afford boosters or who can't attend to get boosters and stuff like that. It's more talaga of for the people around you. So
Yeah.
yes, people who are listening, get vaccinated, stay safe and stuff like that.
Yeah, I feel like the people naman listening to this are vaccinated
Oh yeah, for sure.
because it's, I mean, like long form podcast is kind of like a,
Oh yeah.
you need to, it's kind of like a high
Okay, but for people who are
intellectual type of
gonna
content.
see this clip, I'm gonna clip this. I'm gonna put this in my mind. I'm gonna clip. For people who are listening, though, you get vaccinated.
Yeah, get vaccinated now.
But still, it's very important for people to get vaccinated. But yeah, again, we still can't end this without talking about the New York Knicks.
Oh baby. Oh no.
We're pretty shit,
Our
aren't we?
team right now, man. Ang daming
Right now, we're pretty shit,
ang
aren't we?
daming problema, dude. Like shit. I mean,
It's not
it's not the old Knicks. Like as in per se, like the
okay.
LOL Knicks. It's still we're not down that low,
We're not down that
but
low,
we're
but
definitely not playing well.
okay. For the context, we're both Knicks fans, but from my perspective, and for all those Knicks fans who are just complaining why we aren't winning, we 100% overachieved last
Yeah,
season.
100%.
100%.
If you didn't see
If
that, then you're not a real fan.
or if you are a real fan, you're just delusional,
Yeah,
not to
no.
acknowledge how like overly achieved we were with that squad. We ran it back, which of course we overachieved.
Yeah.
And if we overachieved, I still see that we could get eighth place. Even last year, I was expecting eighth place. But we run it back, get a key player, some shooters that we
Yeah, that we
really needed for
desperately needed. Yeah.
offense, like Fournier and Kemba Walker. Well, Walker now is not.
Playing right now out of the rotation.
He's not panning out to be. I guess that's why Boston gave him up.
Yeah.
But Fournier was just funny because I was talking with my cousins. There's just one game he's absolute dog shit, dude.
Dude, he's been asked for majority of the season, but
For like for the better part of the
yeah.
first half of the season, but like I was going in on him for like one game, and then the next game I watched, dude, he started popping off, and then he's becoming more consistent, better,
Yeah.
but he's not the go-to guy for offense that we've.
And he was never going to be
He
like
wasn't the go-to guy because I think we were expecting Fournier of the Olympic squad, that Fournier, but
yeah.
I don't think. Yeah, he was
I think
never.
yeah, for me like I think like they got him in the sense like it was supposed to be like a
Offense.
2A and 2B.
Yeah.
Like first option was definitely still going to be Randall.
Which
And then
again we will talk.
yeah, but then even Randall, like I was expecting regression because last year was
I
just
was
not
expecting
attainable. He had a
I
monster season, but his like
wasn't expecting that much of regression. When I say it's not a bad regression,
yeah.
not that in per se he's playing bad, but I wasn't expecting a regression to where we couldn't rely on him. It
Right.
was like the first year. Oh wait,
Yeah, the first year was terrible. He's a little bit better than first year.
he's a little bit better than first year, but his clutch game again was like first year Julius Randle, where
Yeah.
he can go missing in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and in the playoffs he was terrible, bro. Like
Oh,
there's
he
no other
was
way around
gone.
it. He was
But
terrible.
it was just Trey Young was just outplaying us, and I hate that motherfucker. So
Yeah. Well, I think they were really the stronger team.
yeah,
Real talk. They were really the stronger team. And then Jules like
you missed
he
out.
kind of
And then
like
we lost
choked.
Mitch.
Yeah, Mitch wasn't there too. But Mitch hasn't been playing great as of late. And then
Well, that's the
RJ
thing. One of my other key points of why we were playing shit before we started becoming the inconsistent shit we are now is that the start of the season, Mitch came back. Mitch kind of got injured again.
yeah, he's always injured.
Nerlens got injured.
Yeah.
Taj is old, and we're watching him.
Yeah.
So we had a problem with our centers, and if you were watching the Houston game
Yeah,
or
yeah, on
just the
yesterday.
highlights, Mitch and Taj playing together, even just having a formidable center, really ups our defense.
It does.
And having our centers in injury crisis, and especially Mitch coming back from injury and so prone to injury,
Yeah.
and playing him less minutes than like 2 years ago, even last year, where he was just playing and playing and playing and
Right.
becoming a beast, right? Having no center in for our defense was such a big hit. Man.
Yeah, no, for sure. Especially with Tibbs' scheme. It's very reliant on a defensive minded center. And I really thought that Mitch was gonna be the perfect answer for it. Because like ever since he was first drafted in 2017, like sabay with Knox, like he was already putting us out of our seats, diba?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like Knox, like we don't even need to talk about it. It's not worth our time right now. But like I was just like always thinking if we can get him like in the right place, he could be like a Gobert but better.
Yeah.
Because like one of his best skills were amazing shot blocking, and
Amazing
one of the things that was unique to him was he could guard guards on the perimeter, guards or wings on the perimeter, because he had quick feet. And I said the only thing he needs now is to bulk up a little bit more. And this year he did that. did bulk up because I was like, if you
He
bulk
did
up, then
bulk up.
maybe he'll be like less injury prone because he was so skinny before, diba? Maybe he'll be less injury prone, and maybe he'll be able to like bang bodies now with the bigger dudes. Because before, it's still Embiid would bully him, eh.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he did get bigger, but the problem now is his feet are so slow.
Yeah, he
He,
got injured because he's
yeah,
so
he
thin.
keeps getting injured. Like I thought that the bulking up was gonna help with the injury. Apparently, it just made it worse. And now his feet are so slow. So I think it's a big question mark actually right now with Mitch,
With
like
Mitch.
moving forward.
I think we keep those without trading. If we're not trading anyone, one of the centers this season to get, or if we're not trading anyone to get a better center or a more less injury prone center, if we keep those three in a bit of rotation that they're healthy enough to like just keep rotating out because yeah, what Manlas was, Mitch came in from back from injury, so he was still getting his feet. So Nerlens was supposed to take that role.
And
Nerlens got injured, so
yeah.
Taji had to play, and
Yeah,
then
and Dodger's also a dinosaur. Like he's good, but he's like old.
yeah, and
So
then Mitch slowly, so he had to play more minutes for his then coming back, and then he got injured again. Then Taj got
yeah, then
injured
we ended up
also,
having to play Sims, diba?
and then yeah, and then we had to play Sims for a bit. But so I think if we just keep them healthy and just have a good stretch of games, at least get 4 or 5 games back to
Yeah.
500, and keep them healthy and start to get them in the rotation. If we just grind out games just back to 500 and then keep them healthy, I think we can finish at least in the eighth. Because one of the problems that why we're so shit right now is the fucking East became so
Yeah, the East
good.
is stacked now, in fairness.
I
The
don't know.
Cavs are good. The Wizards are like super good.
Bulls are good.
The Bulls are well. I had a feeling them on the Bulls were gonna be good,
But
but
like I
not
wasn't
this good. Yeah,
expecting them to be
yeah,
this good. And then in the start of the season, I thought Brooklyn were gonna become shit with Kyrie not playing, and then
yeah.
Harden
No,
and
I think
KD.
KD's too good for them.
As much as I hate him, he's
Yeah,
just too
he's too
good. But I
good.
thought they were gonna have
Yeah,
problems.
yeah.
But
No, they're good.
now they've sorted it
Yeah,
out,
and
and now they're
then
just
even
playing
Philly's
ball.
like
Hey, but
doing decent without Ben Simmons
yeah,
actually.
we did decent against the Nets though. So,
Yeah, we still lost though.
but yeah, still,
But I don't know. For me, like the season, I don't look at this as an L though. It's not the same.
I'm not
The new
looking
front
at it.
office, like, is this is a real front office. Like I have full belief in them because all of the
Yeah,
signings that they made,
especially the rookies.
yeah, the rookies are
Deuce
balling
Grimes
out.
playing right.
Yeah, and
I
Deuce McBride, the
McBride.
one
Oh my
yesterday,
god.
and then like Jericho Sims looks like
I wish he got more minutes.
like a freak. Well, we're kind of log jammed in center ish. Like he only
Especially
played
the
when
only
during the
thing I
injuries.
wish we could fix or I that can come out good with our injury problems with the center is if Obi Toppin could play much better defense.
But dude, in credits to him, like he's
He's
been,
been playing so well.
yeah, and his defense is also much better. Like he averages like 1.5 blocks per game, which is
It's
not
just
bad.
the way that you see him, if you see his
He's
frame,
kind of
the way
small compared to big guys,
yeah, but
actually.
like he looks really strong.
Yeah,
But when you see him on defense, because when he's on
he's
offense, he
up,
has
he's top heavy, yeah.
he's
So
very top
his
heavy.
legs aren't like the strongest compared to
Yeah,
like
so
Silla
and
and Embiid and
he's
shit.
usually paired with Randall. So
Mm,
no, sometimes if we're playing
sometimes, yeah, if
small,
we're playing
you
small,
have Obi and Randall.
yeah.
So
But it's a liability on defense.
it's such a liability in defense because if we do have that injury problem, nga, well, which we are having the past few games,
Yeah.
but at least now Mitch
Now
is
it's
back.
COVID issues. We have like how many guys out with COVID? Obi,
What?
yeah, dude. That's why the last game, like, it was like Deuce playing so much minutes.
Oh,
It's
I didn't see
RJ,
that.
Obi,
I was wondering why he didn't
Grimes,
play.
RJ, Obi, Grimes, and meron pa yan ah.
Yeah,
RJ,
stop
Obi,
going
Grimes,
out kasi.
and then Burks was under COVID protocol. Ah, no, just had a kid,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know, I'm still pretty positive with like even though
I'm
we're
pretty
the
positive this
numbers
season.
aren't like the win loss column is not like where I want it to be. Like I'm still really positive with this team, but I think a trade needs to go down.
I trade
Like
needs to Kemba gets needs to
we're a
I'm
lit-
so sorry, but
yeah. I mean, Kemba was like he was just too bad at defense. He was just terrible at defense, talaga, and like he wasn't really looking to distribute as much. And him and the Fournier
it
backcourt,
wasn't
it was
working.
terrible.
Dude, Alec
It was
Burks and
it's like
Fournier work much better.
yeah,
Or
swish.
Rose and
Because at least Burks can play defense. Fournier's defense was
dude,
also.
Alec Burks is a beast.
Yeah, man.
Like as much as inconsistent he can be shooting the three, like Fournier is more consistent in as a whole, but not the season. But like Fournier is more consistent. I'd rather have him shoot the three. But like when he's on a roll in the fourth, he's on a roll in
Dude,
the
yeah. He's
fourth,
like
man.
a J.R. Smith type na
Yeah.
parang he gets really hot. But yeah, like what I was saying is I actually like all of the pieces, but there needs to be a trade because
Needs
we
to be
need
traded.
to see more minutes of the young guns, but we also can't not play some of the veterans. So I
We
feel like we need
need a player that we can. It should be Julius. I know, but he's not.
yeah, we're not gonna trade Julius yet unless it's
No,
for a
no, no. I mean,
superstar.
sorry. We're not. I mean, I'm not saying we should trade Julius. I mean, what I mean is that it should be Julius that we go to and should be consistent. But I don't feel, for me personally, he's not that
He's
guy
not
who
that
can.
guy, no, 100%.
He's not like, for me, kasi I was comparing this with when I was talking to my cousin. Was like, if you look at the Bulls and you look at DeMar DeRozan, you give him the ball mid range, you have this certain feeling that's gonna go in.
Yeah, or
Like
Zach
especially
Levine
when he was
also.
playing against us, like, oh fuck, the man has the ball, it's fucking going in,
Yeah,
diba?
yeah.
But like, if you give the ball to Julius, you never know because he is a beast mid range,
Yeah, but
and
he
it can
takes
go
tough
in.
shots and like he doesn't like last year he was just making a lot of the tough shots. And that's why for
Yeah,
me he's really a like a number 2 player.
that's why
Like he's not that guy.
we need a
But
player who
yeah,
we can feel can be
but he's
consistent.
also the best player right now on this
He is
team.
the
So
best
it's like
player
you
in the
need to
team.
give him and he brought
Yeah,
us to a third seed last
yep,
year, so he deserves it. But I
he
think a
deserves
trade
it.
needs to go down. We have too many assets that we need to like kind of cash in on. So like some of the
Mm-hmm.
trades that I've been looking at, because like we're not gonna get any superstar unless we trade Randall, and Randall's value is also kind of low right now. He just signed a
Yeah.
5 year extension. I don't think we're gonna do that.
No,
But
I think Julius is staying for the long term.
well, we'll see. We'll see. Like
We'll see, but
right. At least these next 2 seasons, probably gonna be
if
in there.
if he improves his game at the second half of this season, like to a better standard,
Yeah,
not it doesn't have to be as monstrous as. For sure, I don't think if he doesn't improve here till the All Star break,
it's gonna be a
he's
problem.
not gonna become an All Star, of course. But if he doesn't improve or at least show signs of him becoming more consistent as a scorer for us, I see it na we'll trade him down the line in
Yeah.
some future.
Or he just needs to kind of change his mindset to be a different like kind of player. Because right now he
Yeah,
wants to be that guy. Yeah, like give me the ball. I'm gonna isolate. I'm gonna cook this guy. But if he just like
he's just not that.
gave put more screens, did more cuts, or like look to distribute a little bit more. He does look to distribute. In fairness to him.
He looks to
Yeah.
distribute, but
But
that cutting,
he doesn't
I
do any of
think
that shit.
he doesn't. No, the thing is, which I don't understand is we could be such a good at pick and roll team,
Diba? Because he
but
could
it
pick and
doesn't
pop, pick
happen.
and
We're just
roll.
pick
Yeah.
and popping or just picking and then
And
okay, that's it.
that's a Tibbs
That's
thing
so
also. That's a Tibbs
infuriating.
thing also
It's a
because
Tibbs thing. That's
he's
why.
very old school also with his system. But
Yeah.
you can't fault Tibbs also because he brought us to a third seed last year with the pieces that he had.
Yeah.
But
So
I do think we need to consolidate a little bit. I'm very intrigued with Miles Turner because I feel like Miles Turner actually solves a lot of the problems that we have. If we have Miles Turner in this team, he can number one anchor the Tibbs defense that is so heavily relied on a center. Number two, he provides spacing for Randall to drive also, like because he can shoot it from three, and none of our centers right now can shoot it from three.
what if we? Is there a possibility? Have you heard of a Sabonis deal? Because Sabonis wants out in Jan.
I wouldn't want
I don't
Sabonis. Sabonis
really.
and Randall, how are you gonna work? How are you gonna do that, dude?
I just saw him. He was just cooking us. I was just fucking. I
We're
want
gonna
him.
be terrible at
We're gonna be
defense.
terrible at
Terrible
defense.
at defense. That's not gonna work out,
It's not gonna work
unfortunately.
out.
I like Sabonis too, but that's not
But
gonna work out.
there are a lot of rumors. A Westbrook deal. A lot.
I don't want
I don't
Westbrook. I don't want
personally.
Westbrook. He's not a winning player.
Personally, I don't want him in the team. And personally, I don't think he's going to New York because he's already in his
Yeah,
the team
your
that he wants to
hometown.
play
Yeah.
in. So I don't think it's going to
And
happen.
dude,
So
just salary wise, it's gonna be so hard to match.
yeah,
Westbrook's making like almost $50 million, man.
yeah.
So that means
So
we'll have to give up like Randall and like a $20 million person like Fournier or Burks plus Noel, which is just like so much for Westbrook.
yeah,
Like I don't think so. They don't have any assets also that they can give us
yeah.
in
So
compensation.
it's
But
just
that's why I'm intrigued with Miles Turner because he'll solve a lot of the current problems we have now. But I think the biggest problem that we have is we don't have that guy to just
exactly.
like
We don't
that you
have
have
that.
confidence is gonna close
Yeah.
games for you and make the right decision every single time. And number two, like which could be that guy is like a point guard. Because we thought that we were gonna get the answer with Kemba Walker because
But
Alfred Payton was like a fucking joke last year. Like he was really not. I mean, he was good at defense, but
Honestly, Alfred Payton's playing much better than Cam.
he was. I mean, like defensively, but Alfred Payton sucked as an
He sucked,
offense.
yeah.
He wasn't a distributor
Yeah, you're right.
whatsoever, and he couldn't shoot for like he couldn't throw a rock in the ocean. So, like we need that guy who can kind of like, you know,
And it's
just
not like he can
facilitate and
play Derrick Roach too much minutes.
yeah, because he's old also, man. He's got some.
He's still a
He's
beast.
yeah,
And again, we have so many young players like IQ coming up.
yeah.
So, what do you call this? For him, it's just time, but he's also a beast. So.
Yeah, but like my what I dream about at night is really getting someone like I mean, of course, like Giannis or Luca would be amazing, but in a
I can't get
realistic,
Luka because he gets too fat for Mavs, and they're like, we don't want you. He's like, I feel like I want to go to the Knicks. Oh my god, that would be such.
that would be amazing. But that's a long shot,
That's
such
such
a
a
long
long shot,
shot.
but oh my
The
god.
one that I really dream about that would be perfect with this team is Shea Gilgeous Alexander.
Dude,
He
I've
would
been
be
thinking about
perfect for this
especially
team.
being well, especially my team being the Clippers in the West.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan, but like
Yeah,
them
when he first started out there,
and then
he's a
I was like,
beast,
why
man.
did you do that? But then again, okay, I know why you did that.
Yeah, Paul
Because Paul
George. Yeah,
George is
it
a
made
fucking
sense.
beast
Made
right
sense. Yeah,
now.
it made sense.
But like he's
But yeah,
one
I
of
love Shea, and he's way too cool for Oklahoma City, man. Do you see how that guy dresses? That guy's hella
yo
swag. But
Shea, RJ, Julius. Oh,
yeah, if that's possible, or like I don't know, this Julius Randle situation's also gonna be intriguing to monitor because honestly, Obi's been looking pretty promising too. Like
but like he's been pretty shit at the three. So if he just develops his three
yeah,
also,
and a little bit of defense also. But
defense,
we'll see, man. I mean,
we'll see.
still very promising for the Knicks moving forward. I think I really trust this front office now. And as long as James Dolan doesn't fuck shit up, I think we're gonna be in a good place for like the
We'll
next
see. We'll see.
couple of years.
Yeah, that's basically it. Um, just a small minor note: Chelsea's pretty shit in our form right now. So bad. But we'll see. We have a game this weekend. Hope we can turn it around. But yeah, we're also both Chelsea fans. If you didn't know, but
I'm more of a casual right now, not gonna lie. Like I just watch highlights
we're
and
so bad.
every once
But
in a while.
anyway, um, thank you. It's probably the longest episode I've had. 2:30.
Well,
A
we
lot
both
of
have
things.
podcasts,
Very,
so
very.
madaldal.
It's a very, very eye-opening, intriguing. We learned a lot today. Um, honestly, just I don't know how I don't know if I'm gonna half this episode or just post this. It's really long.
It's
This is
pretty
like
long,
almost
yeah,
7 minutes. I don't know what
yeah,
we talked about.
yeah.
But thank you all for listening. For my viewers.
Whoever's still here, appreciate
Who
you.
live. Thank you, and for all people who are listening on YouTube and Spotify. Thank you. Check out Roque and his YouTube channel and on Spotify, Roque's Modern Life. And yeah, thanks talaga Roque
Of
again
course,
for
man.
coming.
Had a fucking blast, bro. And you could find like my stuff, Rock's Modern Life, Instagram, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, YouTube, stuff like that. I'm on a hiatus right now. I don't know when this is gonna be posted, but pretty soon I think I'm gonna come back.
Yeah, probably also you're gonna be on this podcast, and because we still have to plan one with Ariana, so
Right, right.
we planned about that. And I was thinking about doing this now, but I was like, maybe next time because I'm not really set on my. But
Setup,
yeah,
yeah.
that for all those environmental people, if you wanna get tuned on that podcast, we're probably gonna talk about a lot of animals.
Sure.
So yeah, for
Geek out
sure.
a bit.
Again, so thank you all for listening from the What's Life Like podcast. This will probably be out. I don't know soon.
Surprise!
Surprise! If you're watching it on YouTube and listening on Spotify,
Yeah,
here it
apparently this is like at
is.
the end of the podcast now, so they know
Yeah.
when this podcast is
So
released.
yeah, thank you again for listening. Thank you again, Rocket, for coming. So
Sure, my pleasure.
see you guys on the next episode. My next episode will be actually on the 20th on Monday, but it's not gonna be live. I mean, it's gonna be live, but it's not gonna be in person. So it's gonna be back to the old school. So thank you again for all listening, and see you again in the next episode on Monday. Bye bye.